light and heat. Time to take a stand, boys, time to make a choice. Time to find our courage, time to be deployed. Make our only stand here, make our roads complete. All we waited for now, past the future meet. Get your weapons ready, kiss the ones goodbye. Now our time is coming, and it is not the time to cry. Fight the war. Fight the war. Fight the war. Oh, who cares why we're fighting? It's about the might. Let the writers writing settle wrong from right. In the time of conflict, when the bullets fly, in the space of seconds, a life you cannot buy. Face the facts before you, face the simple truth. We're hopelessly outnumbered, it's tragic but it's true. Make your last formation, take the final road. Now it's time for endings, now it's time to go. Fight the war. Oh, fight the war. Fight the war.
It's what I'm talking about. I'm fighting the war because it's a Tuesday. Happy Merry Christmas Eve. What's going on, everyone? Welcome, Arvanauts. Welcome. Merry Christmas Eve and all that. I hope everyone is doing well and is looking forward to a Tuesday, December 24th at 12:40 p.m. Eastern, just about stream. Welcome, everybody, and welcome to Star Wars. We got a lot of Star Wars coming up today. So before I go into that, I will just remind people about ways to support the stream. If you haven't done so already, please consider following the channel. That is always a good thing to do. Please check out our YouTube channel with !ArvTube, our Twitter with !ArvTweets. Please retweet this stream with my slight, very brief homage to 'Twas the Night Before Christmas on it. Please consider as well checking all of this out on our Discord, !ArvCord, which is always appreciated. Thank you, Tim. So Discord, !ArvCord, where you can hang out with the Arvanauts in between streams. Then, of course, you can find out about all of this, including the schedule at arvaneleron.com. Then we've got, of course, the other things you can do financially, !ArvShop, which currently has material from Adventures in Middle-earth with Terry Toons illustrations, currently has material from Infinity and Beyond, D&D, which we are doing the Curse of Strahd campaign, which we just did this past Sunday. And, of course, Esper Genesis stuff is going to be up there fairly soon as well. I'm going to be doing that sometime fairly early, I think, in the new year. On the other financial side of things, we've got the Patreon currently sitting at $3.13, exclamation point Arvtreon for that. Again, cool stuff you can get for yourself, cool stuff you can for the channel. It can make a big difference to the way the channel runs. Hey, what's up, Garrett? And last but certainly not least, of course, that sub button right above the video window, which currently has us sitting at 72 subs. Our goal is to get to 80 subs by the end of the year. So I feel comfortable that we have a shot to do it. And we have about 7 days and a number of streams in between now and the end of the year. And so hopefully we will get a chance to get the rest of the way up to that 80 sub goal. Schedule wise, we have got day 2 of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order today. And also this is going to give me a chance to chat about the Rise of Skywalker. I will warn everyone when you get to that moment that we are talking about Rise of Skywalker. At that point, if people have not seen it, they can mute the stream, and I will sort of, wave them off. I'll let people know when I'm done by making some, it's okay or thumbs up or some kind of, something like that signal in the chat, and then we can do that. I'll probably talk more about this as well on Saturday when I'm going to be doing more Jedi stuff. But I'll do, I'm going to talk a little bit about it today. And then we've also got the final vote for the Patreon-fueled chat chosen game of the month. And while I'm on that subject, currently we've got the poll up here, and I think at last check, I want to say that Event Zero was winning this at last check, and I think, yeah, it still is. So Event Zero is at 9 votes. Heroes of Might and Magic 3 is at 4 votes. Last Epoch is at 1 vote. Deepak Chopra. So please head over there and give it a vote, because I will be closing the vote at the end of today. I'll be playing that next Tuesday during this time, so that'll be good. You've already been spoiled, and you must admit you're disappointed. Oh, I'm sorry that you've been spoiled, but, well, I'll talk about the movie in just a little bit. Let's see. As far as the rest of the schedule is concerned, tomorrow we have our annual Christmas Day Arv and family stream, so I'll be hanging out with you guys, playing with Mrs. Arv, Little Arv, and Mini Arv, playing some cool game with all of you folks. And then on Friday, we have got Masters of the Dungeon, myself and Little Red Dot, sort of summarizing a lot of the tabletop year. Then we've got D&D with viewers on Friday evening. Saturday, we have Jedi Fallen Order, and actually one of my favorite streams of the year, which is the Game of the Year stream, where I talk a little bit about my games of the year for 2019, both games of the year that came out in 2019 that I played, and games of the year that I played for the first time, whether or not they came out in 2019. So that was on Saturday that we've got coming up for that. And that is going to be a good time. And then our last stream should be that Tuesday the 31st, a week from today, when we will be wrapping up with, I think, the Patreon Field Chat Chosen Game of the Month, and then, of course, Return of the Obra Dinn over on GOG and Pen and Pixels as we close out a very busy, productive, eventful, I think it's fair to say, 2019. So that's what we've got going on with that. Today, as I mentioned, Jedi Fallen Order, and then later on this afternoon, we have got more Return of the Obra Dinn at 4 p.m. Eastern. So, with all that said, I am going to get rid of this, I'm going to get rid of this, and then I'm going to turn on that. What's going on, everyone? Nothing better, I think, to talk about Star Wars than Star Trek, because as you know, the best role for this is when Mr. Spock took out Ben Kenobi with R2-D2's TARDIS. That was the best. I mean, really, it was an epic moment, I think, for all of us. And but I do want to talk a little bit about Rise of Skywalker. So I'm going to set up my PlayStation, and then we're going to have a chance to talk about this. Oh yeah, the shirt that you're currently viewing. But yeah, let me wish, first of all, happy holidays to everyone. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, happy Hanukkah, happy Kwanzaa, happy Festivus. Whatever it is that you do or don't celebrate, happy everything to everybody. And it is lovely to be with all of you people. So, let me sort of set up the PlayStation thing. So this part that I'm about to talk about is not spoiler. You don't have to, if you have not seen it and don't want to be spoiled, you don't have to mute it yet. I will tell you when we're going to start getting into spoilers, and then you can mute the stream. And then if you just keep the visuals on, and at some point I'll do something like that to let you know that it's okay to come back, and we can be good with that. So, oh yes, I didn't mention that. Thank you, Coven. Exclamation Point Library is the Forbidden Library pre-orders, and get ready for that because that's almost out. I've had a chance to actually see the full adventure. Did a lot of proofreading on that yesterday, and so on. It looks great. I'm super excited to share it with all of you. I think it's going to come off really, really well. Icarus, of course, is well ahead in terms of art and everything else. We look like we're still on track of that to be in the first or second quarter of next year. Might be closer to late April, early May, but we're within the ballpark. Very close on that. And of course, in March we have the Gray Shade Kickstarter, and I'll talk much more about that when we get into the new year. So, okay, my non-spoilery thoughts about Rise of Skywalker before I actually get into the more spoiler-based ones that are there. Here, let me check out this shirt that Coven's wearing. What am I? Okay, so we've got a Goomba, we've got Mario as Doctor Who, Infinite Worlds, and we've got what looks like is that a Blink Angel? Is that a Blink Angel Koopa? Is that a Blink Angel flying Koopa that I'm looking at on the right side? That is quite a shirt. There's a lot going on in that shirt. That is what that is, right? That's a Blink Angel and a Chomp Chop Dalek in the back. That is an awesome mashup, man. I dig it. That's cool. Okay, so let me get this started. You will see some blinking and moving as I fix this. But just hang in there with me. Okay, so here are my non-spoiler thoughts about the Rise of Skywalker. I want to start. So okay, the movie is not perfect. The movie clearly has problems. The movie is very, very almost hyperactive in its first, I would say, half hour. It's just story beat, story beat, story beat. Like you're just zip, 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 zip. It's very, very fast paced. And I think it's almost manic. And I think part of the reason that it's manic, and I'm going to be talking a lot about this when we get to the spoiler section, is because of The Last Jedi. Now, I will fully admit that when I first saw The Last Jedi on this very channel, I talked about how I thought it was excellent, but there were problems, and I don't think it's excellent. The longer I've gone and the farther away I get from The Last Jedi, the less I like it. I think that there are huge plot problems with The Last Jedi. There are huge character problems, and I think one of the biggest issues that I have with it is that basically what it did was it said, we are going to completely shake up the Star Wars universe. We are going to utterly, and I mean completely, shake up the Star Wars universe, and we're going to do so in part 8 of a 9-part story. So you've got a 9-part story, and now you're like, okay, now the time has come for us to do what we're going to do. Like, I don't know. It was bizarre to me, quite frankly. Okay, I think this is right. There we go. Lovely. And so there's a huge sort of thing. There's a sort of a huge problem with that. So there's just a big kind of turn that happens that I just think is not earned. I think that The Last Jedi tells us a lot of what we should care about, not show us. It doesn't earn its payoffs, and I think that's a big problem that happens with a lot of the way that these things actually work. So, but again, to get back to the Rise of Skywalker. So I think the problems that often exist with the Rise of Skywalker are a function with how completely fouled up The Last Jedi made the whole sequence of events. And I think, honestly, that most of the blame for that rests with Kathleen Kennedy, who is the head of Lucasfilm. Because why you would take these vastly different directors, and I mean, J.J. Abrams and Rian Johnson are very, very different kinds of directors. Why you would take them and say, let's have J.J. start the sequence. Let's have Rian continue the sequence. Now let's have J.J. Welcome back, Echo. And now let's have J.J. return to what he wanted to do in the first place. The whole trilogy feels incoherent. And I think that part of the reason is because you took two people who clearly do not see eye to eye in terms of what they want to do in filmmaking, and definitely don't see eye to eye in terms of what they think Star Wars is. And they just were like, okay, we don't have a plan. Good luck to you. It's a recipe for disaster. I think that it's it's really inexcusable, and I think Kathleen Kennedy should be fired. I don't understand how you can take a franchise with this kind of pressure and say, let's have, first of all, I don't know why you have two different directors in the first place, but if you're going to have two different directors because they just can't commit to doing one set of projects for however long, then if you're going to have two, then at least make the two have some tonal consistencies. Like maybe you start with J.J. Abrams and then you go to Steven Spielberg, and then, or J.J. Abrams and then you go to, like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of like a good consistent movie guy, but not someone who's going to rock the boat a ton. Because the thing about Abrams gets a ton of hate. Abrams is a decent director. He really is. He's not an awful director. He knows how to put together a film. He knows how to hit sort of emotional beats. He understands sort of intercutting. He's not a bad director. He really isn't. But he's a certain kind of director. And Rian Johnson is very much art cinema, auteur. Let me subvert your expectations. One of the most overused memes regarding The Last Jedi that I could possibly imagine. See you 10. And so, okay, see you 10. Sorry about that. I'm trying to stay away from spoilers, but anyway, so just, whatever. So there's this kind of taking these two vastly different directors and trying to get them to work together, and not actually get them in the same room and say, look, guys, here's the story that we're going to put together is just foolish to my mind. So when we actually get into looking at the Rise of Skywalker, the problem that I have with it, and no, it's actually the opposite. I need to install this. Oh, you already installed it? Did you really? Let me make sure. All right, let me update this file. Okay, right. Update. All right, so this will be blinking a little bit. Thank you for the resub, Jay. So, no, I liked The Rise of Skywalker actually quite a bit. There are big problems with it, but I think the problems that exist with Rise of Skywalker are a function of the problems with The Last Jedi more than they are a function of this movie. Because I think that basically what happened was J.J. Abrams felt that he needed to retell the trilogy in like 2 hours and 20 minutes. So he needed to create like an entirely new trilogy super fast because Ryan just basically threw out all the stuff that he set up in Force Awakens, which is bizarre, frankly. And again, that's a function of the fact that Kathleen Kennedy didn't get these people in a room to begin with and say, first of all, she shouldn't have had these two kinds of directors. She should have had two similar directors, not vastly different. But secondly, if she's going to have those two directors, she's got to get them in a room and be like, listen, we're not going to go into this after Force Awakens unless you understand what needs to be done in The Last Jedi. And if you can't do that, then, sorry, then we're going to need to get another director. And she didn't do that, and the result was this vastly tonally incoherent kind of trilogy between one to the next. So I think that's one of the reasons why the beginning of Rise of Skywalker seems so manic. Once it kind of settles into the way that the film, is actually working, there are a lot of really good moments. And again, I haven't quite gotten into the spoiler part of this yet, but I will simply say that a lot of these things, a lot of the stuff that I think they were trying to do thematically, they do pull off in a lot of ways. And part of the reason for that is that, and I think this is the thing that Rian Johnson just did not understand, this is a long-running story. This isn't just new. This isn't a new thing. This isn't like, okay, now we're coming up with a new story, it's time for a new story. In fact, if they had decided to give Rian Johnson his own trilogy, that would have been fine. Then, you get your own trilogy, you do your own thing. But you can't take a story that is already existing, like, now, as it is, and then say, okay, so now we've understood that, and now we're, like, you can't do that. And to do it means that you get all of these situations that you get within this film where there's these sort of weird sort of tonal inconsistencies. So I think that given what Abrams had to work with, given how much stuff was out there, how many things were set up in Force Awakens and then just dropped in Last Jedi, given how many things were established as a positive, like, okay, here's the way we're going to go, and then they just do a U-turn and go somewhere else. I'm sorry, this may be a bit loud. Given that, I think he did a pretty good job. Honestly, like, he had so many things to worry about. First of all, he's got to close off this 9-part story. He's got to deal with a fractured fan base, which really fractured after Last Jedi. He's got to figure out a way to not cater to the fan criticism that was nonsensical, the racist, kind of bigoted, why do we have, people of color in our movies? Why do we have politics in our movies? As if Star Wars hasn't always been an explicitly political work. All that stuff is ridiculous. So he's got to do that. But he also has to correct a lot of what I think are pretty big plot holes from Last Jedi. He's got to pick up some stuff from Force Awakens. And he's also got to do all of this while working around the death of Carrie Fisher. I mean, that's a big problem. You've already lost Luke in movie 2. You lost Han in movie 1. What do you do with Leia? How do you handle that when Carrie Fisher sadly passed away? And I think he did about as good a job under those circumstances with that much pressure as you could probably expect anyone to do. What's sad is that had this been set up more effectively from the beginning, again, this is Kathleen Kennedy's fault, had this been set up more effectively from the beginning, we would never have the situation arise where we are now, where you've got to make up for all of the problems of movies 1 and 2 in this new trilogy in the third movie. You just can't, there's too much work to do. I thought The Last Jedi was about a half hour too long. I thought it was, frankly, dragged and was boring in spots. This movie does not drag at all. In fact, this movie has the opposite problem, where it's trying to do too much in too little time. And so I think one of the ways to prevent that would have been if you knew how the whole arc was going to work together, instead of just kind of making it up as you went along, which is sort of how they felt they were doing. So there's that. I think there's a lot of really good acting moments. It is definitely the case that there are things that The Last Jedi sort of sets up that Abrams literally just is like, no. But I mean, again, the problem with criticizing Abrams for that is that that's exactly what Rian Johnson did. There are all these things that Abrams sets up in Force Awakens that Rian Johnson, Last Jedi, is like, nope, don't care, not me, blah, whatever, who cares? And just dismiss, throw off, dismiss, throw off. And so, turnabout's fair play, man. I mean, if you're going to do that to the guy who was the one who was brought in to do this thing in the first place, you can't then be annoyed at him when he's like, well, I'm not going to take your retcon, which again is happening in part 8 of a 9-part series. This is not the time to go all revolutionary in part 8. You do this in your own trilogy. Or you do it, if you want to do something totally different, start it in 7. You don't start it in 8. It just does, it makes no sense. So, in a lot of ways, I think Abrams is working around that. So he does dismiss a bunch of story things. I think there's no getting around that. But he does also he does manage to pay off some stuff within Last Jedi. He does create some very meaningful moments. Chewbacca is returned to prominence in this film in a very nice way. I think people who were upset with the portrayal of Luke in Last Jedi will feel a lot better about his portrayal here. I think that people who liked the Ben Solo character, the Kylo Ren, Adam Driver does a really good job with this character. I was not wild about him when I saw him in The Force Awakens, but he really develops nicely. And he does a good job with Kylo Ren, absolutely. I also think that Rey, I liked Daisy Ridley from the beginning. I always thought she did pretty well with this, but her character there were tendencies towards Mary Sue-Dum with her, honestly, just because of the way she was explained. I think in this movie, they do a much better job humanizing her and making her relatable and giving her the possibility of failure, which is something they didn't do elsewhere. Again, where was this, though, in the earlier movies? You can even really say that J.J. Abrams is partly responsible for this in Force Awakens, because he should have, in Force Awakens, made Rey a more relatable character. But at least there you could argue, because Force Awakens is so much like New Hope, that just like Luke, she needs to kind of learn and kind of develop. So we don't need to know immediately what made her so incredibly powerful with the Force. The problem is that then The Last Jedi, Rian Johnson does nothing with that at all. Rian Johnson's just like, nope, she's always perfect. Nope, she does this effectively. Nope, she can beat Luke Skywalker in combat. Sure, yeah, she can do this. She can do all these things. And all of these things happen so that we end up with a situation Leia, and I'll come back to that. I don't want to make the whole thing a critique of The Last Jedi because I want to focus on Rise of Skywalker, but But I will say that Leia, it's very clear, is force sensitive elsewhere. I mean, she's even able to sense Luke's presence when he's at the bottom of Cloud City in Empire Strikes Back. There is a connection between the two of them, and I think all of that made sense to me. All of it worked. The fact that Leia is as powerful and as brave as she is as a character, I think there's a lot of stuff that Leia's got going for her. So I didn't mind the force sensitivity part. The Space Mary Poppins thing, which became its own meme, I don't know what I think about that. I'll have to consider. Yeah, I agree, Vader. I agree. I think he did very well with Kylo. What's up, Mr. Raider? So, and exactly, what a Rudinell was the best. And that, by the way, that was a great line, too. God, Empire Strikes Back is so good. But when the X-Wing takes off and he's, like, in the light of the X-Wing's lights, and he's like, no, there is another. And you're like, what? There's another? So, yeah, that was pretty slick. So I was okay with Leia. And I think, again, that they really handle the situation with Carrie Fisher very well in this movie, as well as could be expected, honestly. What's up, Takanja? So I think they've got a lot of that going on. I think the movie has some very, very powerful emotional moments. Like, moments that, when I get to the spoiler part of this, I will fully admit there were moments that really messed me up. Like, I was crying in the theater. I was really messed up by a couple of these because of how effective they were and because of how they were sort of connected, with stuff. And I think they did a good job in making character moments pay off. There is a character that gets introduced to Finn, and the character that it meets Finn is a cool character. And they kind of pay her off a little bit. Now, the problem is they don't have a lot of time to do it because they only got one movie. But they kind of do that a little bit. So they think they do well there. They still underuse Finn. I continue to believe. Spoilers will be okay in a minute, Vader. Not yet, though. If you could just hold off on the spoilers. Try not to do that. You could, if you wish. If you join my Discord, which is just type in !ARVCord, there is a spoilers thing. I haven't even started with spoilers yet, is Terma. There's a Discord and there's a spoilers channel in the Discord, and you're welcome to go there and please spoiler away in that channel. That's fine. In chat, I'd rather that we not talk about the spoilers yet. When I get to spoilers, I will talk about those, and I will kind of say, okay, I'm doing spoilers now, and then when I'm done with spoilers, I'll be like, or something. I'll give some thumbs up or something like that to sort of show, my sort of feelings about that we're ready to move on. So, but we're not in the spoilers section yet. So if you have not seen the movie yet, I'm not spoiling anything yet. So you're okay. So the thing that I want to say sort of as a couple of last, again, non-spoilery comments about this film is I am, as you folks know, I'm an author, right? Writing and story development and narrative is important to me. Science fiction and fantasy do not have to follow the same rules as our universe do, either narratively or mechanically. But they do have to be internally consistent. They do have to, in some ways, be able to say, we're setting up this set of scenarios at the beginning, and to be able to maintain those scenarios throughout. And there's a big problem that happens sometimes in screenwriting where people are or just in plotting in general, where people are oh crap, I need to get them from here, from point A to point B. I don't know how to do it. It just happens, right? And we call that a deus ex machina, literally God in the machine. There was a lot of that in The Last Jedi. A lot of that. And so much so that I really don't understand how people who are being fair can look at that and go, okay, that's all right. Because it's not all right. There were so many problems plot-wise. There's a lot less of that in The Rise of Skywalker, but it doesn't vanish completely. There are definitely moments that are the bleep, Yeah, so I'm not talking about any spoilers yet, is Terma. I will let everyone know when I'm doing spoilers. There are moments where you're what? And there's things like that, but there's just a lot fewer of them. And I guess I just felt that in general, this movie felt much more to me like a Star Wars film. I think that The Last Jedi is kind of its own animal. It's a movie that's about characters and it has story. I don't particularly love the story, but it's its own thing. I just think it completely collapses as a Star Wars film. And I've had many discussions with people about this. My friend Brian Young, who I've talked about on this channel many times, who is at Swank Motrin on Twitter. Brian knows an incredible amount about film and cinema and an enormous amount about Star Wars. Writes for Huffington Post and does the Full of Sith podcast. It like really knows his stuff about Star Wars. Okay, like I has forgotten more than I will ever know. But he and I just fundamentally disagree about The Last Jedi because Brian likes every Star Wars thing ever. I mean, he named his kid Anakin. Like, he loves everything about Star Wars of all time, which is totally his right. But I think there's a few times where I've had discussions with folks like that where I'm just like, really? About something like The Last Jedi. And I do think that you have an obligation when you come into a series to recognize that you're part of a collaborative storytelling team. That you're not just, okay, I get to do my own thing. You don't just get to do your own thing. And so I feel like Rian Johnson did not handle that responsibility well. And I think J.J. Abrams tried to course correct in this film. And as a consequence, I think there is going to be divisiveness which started with 8 and continues in 9. I don't think this is going to heal all the flaws. I don't think this makes everything right again. I don't think everyone is brought back together again. I think that it is, but I think it's a better film and a much better Star Wars film. And I also think that I think there is this sort of general sense that the Star Wars, like this sequence, the sort of the fan base in general seems to be all on board with The Mandalorian, which I haven't seen yet. But they're all on board with it. They all seem to like The Mandalorian. That, I think, is what needs to happen. I think we need to move away from the Skywalker plot line that's basically tied off now, go do other Star Wars things, and sort of start fresh so that we have a fan base that's working together instead of being divided because of this story. In part, the problem that existed with Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker is that they're all filling up and finishing up this huge arc that's existed for 40 years, and that's intense and powerful. So yes, I will do that, Coven, yeah. That's a good idea. So that's what kind of sort of needs to happen. Yeah, see, I can't wait to check that out, Takanji. It'll be interesting to see. And yeah, that's right. So, and I'll get to that question as term in just a minute about people who hate the film are right, people defend the film are right. I'll get to that in a second. So, my feeling about it is that they need to get away from this line now. And I would, wait a year or two, wait a couple of years, then start putting together a new Star Wars story. And frankly, I would like to see a new Star Wars story told by an entirely different director. No Rian Johnson, no J.J. Abrams. Bring in an entirely new person. Bring in directors from elsewhere. We desperately need, there was J.J. Abrams used for the first time a second unit film director who was a woman. We need more female directors, period. I would like to see female directors on these films. I would like to see directors who are people of color on these films. I would like to see different perspectives and different kind of mindsets that go into the approach of some of these films with Star Wars. As long as you're starting fresh, as long as you're starting from the beginning that way. And I would like to see that happen. And then the fan base, which has not covered itself in glory, let's be honest, over the last few years, then the fan base has got to come up and go out and support it. So all these people who say, well, I want this and I want this and I want this. Okay, so this story now is finished. That's done. Okay, put a bow in it. That's finished. It's time for a new story with new characters and new, plot points and all that. When that story comes out, you need to go out and support it. Because if you're going to still sit there and sulk and fire off things on Twitter and social media about how this isn't your Star Wars, then I don't want to hear it. People, I think, are ready for that. That's what the success of The Mandalorian proves. The Mandalorian really does feel new to a lot of people, and they have embraced it, so that's great. But we need more of that, honestly. We need more of that. We need more of these circumstances. And so that's the thing that I think really needs to matter, is more of these kinds of new stories with new directors and new people that are kind of going forward. All right, last two comments I want to make, non-spoilery, still non-spoilery. First of all, visually, this is spectacular. Spectacular. There are sequences in this that are mind-blowingly good. There are very few of those like, haha, I left a Starbucks cup in the scene type of thing. Like, the visuals in this are gorgeous, and some of the spectacle set pieces are so good that you're almost like, what, like, you almost, again, wish that this could have been done as part of just Force Awakens, which was also visually beautiful, but just Force Awakens, like starting out with this kind of spectacle, plus without all of the baggage of the previous movies that we got, visually spectacular. Sound design was great. Oh my God! By the way, the music is incredible, and it's because John Williams, for the last time, scored this Star Wars film. He scored every Star Wars film except for the new, not Solo and Rogue One, but everyone in this trilogy, in this sequence, the Skywalker story. He scored all of them, and he did such a good job in this again. Like, again, the music was just gorgeous, on point all the way through, and I really love that. I would argue that Williams was as responsible for the success of Star Wars as anyone else because of how powerful that music is, and man, it was slick. Like, I really, really like that. Acting, very good throughout. I'm still annoyed that they wasted Finn, in my view, the way that they did, but again, we'll talk about that more with the spoiler part. And, but the acting in general is very, very good. And I think, my feeling is at the end, they really tried to cover. I read a really interesting review by Eric Kane from Forbes, which is interesting because Forbes had another guy, Mendelsohn, who absolutely destroyed the film, which I thought his review is a joke. I was just like, you can say what you like about this film. You can not like it. To say that it's an objectively awful film is ridiculous. This is not an objectively awful film. And to say that is just someone who's angry because you didn't do Last Jedi Part 2. I mean, it's absurd. It is not an objectively bad film. You can make a much better argument why Last Jedi is objectively bad than you can make for Rise of Skywalker being bad. You may think it's too nostalgic, or you may think it's whatever. Again, it's got big problems, but it's not objectively awful, and to say that is just really, yeah. Anyway, so Mendelsohn said that for Forbes. Then Eric Kane came out and basically was like totally the opposite. He thinks it's the best of the trilogy. I would be inclined to agree. Of the new trilogy of 3. He thinks that that it does a lot of things very well, and one of the points that he makes is, what is wrong? Everyone is just like fan service, nostalgia, fan service. What is wrong with nostalgia and fan service? Like, if that's all that you do, that's a big problem. Like, if all we do is recycle ideas, that's not good. If all we do is just show a bunch of references to make the fans feel good, that's not good. And I'll give you an example of something I think which does do that. Ready Player One. I think Ready Player One, not the film, which I haven't seen, but the book, which I've read, Ready Player One is basically just, let me throw out as many 80s references as I can, and you could be like, oh, you were alive in the 80s, you recognize that? Oh, you remember that one? Oh, there's a War Games reference. Oh, there's... So that, to me, is tired, recyclable nonsense. And because it doesn't really couple with a story that matters, right? It's just a bunch of, like, reference. So that's lousy fan service. But having some fan service is not a big deal when this story is built by fans over 40 years, right? The films came out starting in 1977. This is not something which showed up 5 years ago. This is 1977 and on, and that's a 40-year building of this enormous fan base. And so I don't see why fan service is the devil. Like all of it. I think if that's all you're doing, that's a big problem, which again, Ready Player One. But this is not only doing that. This has several characters which are somewhat unique, by the way, and several beats that are not matched by other parts of the movie. They do some things that are different too. But yeah, Part 9 of a 9-part story that's been running for 4 decades is going to have some nostalgia and fan service. So what? Who cares? I don't understand this argument. And I think, again, it's coming from people who say that The Last Jedi is the only Star Wars movie they cared about. I had a couple of good friends like this. I had one good friend of mine who hated Star Wars and loved The Last Jedi. Well, what does that tell you? Right? If the people who mostly loved Last Jedi are people who basically hated Star Wars, then I think that says more problems about The Last Jedi than it says about Star Wars. You can go get your Last Jedi elsewhere. You can go get your postmodernist whatever elsewhere, but this is not that. And so I just, my feeling is that a lot of the sort of criticism of its fan service and it's nostalgic is kind of missing the point of Star Wars. I hate to tell you this, folks. New Hope was not deathless cinema in terms of dialogue. It was clunky at times and awkward at times, but it had heart. And The Last Jedi, to me, felt like the heart had been ripped out of it. This has heart, this movie. It's got problems, it's got major issues, but it has heart. And it seems to recognize the Star Wars heart in a way that The Last Jedi literally says in The Last Jedi, forget the past, kill it if you have to. And that's a metaphor for everything Rian Johnson tries to do in that film, which I think is inappropriate in part 8 of a 9-part story. So if, J.J. Abrams is like, no, and goes back to it, I think it's condescending to say to fans, it's wrong for you to want to go back to the stuff that made Star Wars great for you. Does everything have to be, Mad Max? Does everything have to be, The Matrix? Does everything have to be depressing, dystopic, we're all going to die and this is all disastrous? And really? Even Star Wars has to be that way? So I think... Right. I think if you're going to do this, I was talking about that with my wife, actually, as Terma, that maybe it would have been better if you put TLJ as 9, but I think there would have been so much like bad feeling and bad taste in people's mouths that I don't know if that would have worked, but it's something. So, I don't know. I don't know. I just feel that, I just think that like Rian Johnson's vision is not the Star Wars vision, and I think J.J. Abrams is much more close to that. Now, again, this is not to say that Abrams is perfect. He's not. And this does have moments that are like, oh my God. Like, again, not a perfect movie at all. But I felt a lot better walking out of the theaters, wiping tears from my eyes, smiling out of The Rise of Skywalker than I did even walking out of Last Jedi. Walking out of Last Jedi, I was like, whoa, I was shocked. I'm like, I don't know what just happened. And I came home and I broadcast on this channel and I said, it's good. And I said, but it's got problems. Those reactions that I had got worse as time went on. And the more that I thought about it, the less that I liked it. So that now I kind of feel like The Last Jedi is not a very good movie, in my opinion. But again, the reason I keep bringing up The Last Jedi is because so much of The Rise of Skywalker is influenced by the movie that just preceded it. And so that is kind of the way that these things exist. So... Right. Well, and I've heard that before as Terma about Phantom Menace is not as bad. So the thing about that is Phantom Menace, I think Phantom Menace the first movie is a pretty bad movie, but it's saved by Qui-Gon, who's great. Liam Neeson as Qui-Gon is great. Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan. For all the fan base didn't like the prequels, everybody loved Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan that I know. And the best lightsaber battle in all the movies. Legit. Although there are good lightsaber battles in this movie, I will say. Some very good ones. But, oh my God, Duel of the Fates is unbelievable, right? So it's saved by those three things. But wooden acting, terrible plot holes, there are very good moments, but they're just not up there. I think Attack of the Clones is the worst movie of the whole set. I think it's awful. The less said about that, the better. Yoda as a freaking super ball leaping around the room fighting Christopher. Oh, God, what a disaster. And then Revenge of the Sith was okay. That was decent. But you could argue that you could have put Revenge of the Sith and made that your movie, and people would have been a lot happier. I just don't know that the prequels had as much heft going into it. So, whatever. But yeah, people have liked it more as time has gone by because some of the people grew up with, the prequels too. And some people have said, well, that'll happen with these movies, and there will be a lot of people who will think better about these three movies. But the problem is these three movies don't work as a set. See, the prequels, you can look at it and go, movie 2 was terrible. Movie 1 was pretty bad, but had some good moments. Movie 3 was decent. You can put that together, but at least know that it was the same director who had the same vision, right? And it's tied together with Ian McDiarmid, who's great, and, with other acting performances that are well done. Obviously, movies 4, 5, 6, you have the same director. But 7, 8, 9 is so inconsistent, so incoherent. Yeah, I agree with that as Terma. So inconsistent, so incoherent that, that's the problem. You can say, I like Force Awakens, and I like Rise of Skywalker. I don't love Last Jedi was pretty bad. Or people will be like, Last Jedi was amazing. Force Awakens was fan service. Rise of Skywalker is a joke. It's going to be hard to sort of split, kind of bridge that gap and have people be like, oh yeah, all three movies were really tremendous. So well, yeah, there are theories about that, about whether it's actually Darth Jar Jar. Jar Jar was and there's latent racism in the prequel and the second movie. There's so many problems. Yeah, Revenge of the Sith, though, was fine, but I think Revenge of the Sith is where they should have started, frankly. I just don't think people wanted to go back as far as they did in the prequels. Certainly, and then there's other problems, the undercutting of the Force, the whole thing about the midichlorian nonsense and all that, but that's that whole thing. So, the actor verified it, yeah. But see, some people wonder if there are some questions as to whether they're being truthful about that. But anyway, I think you're probably mostly right. That would have been terrible. Jar Jar people didn't like Jar Jar because he's annoying and because it's racist. It's a racist portrayal. Like, I'm sorry, whether intentional or not. So, I mean, but yeah, Brian Young, again, my friend Brian is a huge fan of Jar Jar Binks and thinks that Jar Jar is great. But again, he's a huge fan of everything in Star Wars. So, so anyway, so I think all of those things together is what leads to what we get here, which is kind of this incoherent thing. But with all that said, I liked Rise of Skywalker. I think it handles things pretty well. I think it handles an almost impossible situation with both the Last Jedi dismissal of Force Awakens things and Carrie Fisher passing away and all these balls in the air he had to juggle. I think he juggles pretty well. I do think that J.J. Abrams is sometimes a cautious director. I do understand the criticism where people say that he does a lot of are you okay now? Are you having fun? Is this okay? Like it's a very, like, the film almost is constantly asking, is this okay with you? And that there is a little bit of sort of by committee stuff, which I don't like about Abrams' style. But again, part of that is a function of how much that wasn't done in the first one. So it just was. So anyway, big issues, with that. I mean, and let's be clear, Coven, this is a series that thought that General Grievous was a solid villain. So, I mean, oh, and the other thing I want to say, too, one last thing before we get into spoilers. I also don't want to hear from people, well, this storyline or that plot hole gets covered in these books, that comic book, or that. No, don't make me do homework. Don't make me go to a bookstore and pick up books and read so I can understand why I'm supposed to care about Vice Admiral Holdo all of a sudden. Don't make me go to a store and figure out what the hell Dominic Monaghan's character was in this movie. None of these things are, the story has to stand in the film. The lore, the books, are things that are supposed to enhance your experience. So I can read the books by Chuck Wendig or Delilah Dawson or Daniel Jose Older or, pretty much everybody I know who all gets to write Star Wars books now. I can go there and I can see that and I can have my experience enhanced. And that's awesome. Like having the experience enhanced of being able to see The Mandalorian and seeing these little bits and bites. That's really cool. I love that. But you should not rely on stuff outside of the medium, the media source that you're watching or consuming to be able to understand the story. This is my same frustration that I had with Destiny, the first Destiny. If I'm playing Destiny and I come across something cool, don't be like, here, reference this thing on a website. No, I don't want to reference the thing on a website. I'm in your world now. Tell me in world. Imagine what it would be like for me going through the Jedi Fallen Order, and I come across something and it's like, great, please use your smartphone app. Can you see EA doing that? Use your smartphone app to find this story piece. Like, no. So it's got to be within the film. In the film. So, oh no, I'm the opposite. I'm not bashing the books, as Terma. I don't want the books to try to make up for what the movies don't do. The films have to stand on their own. And the reality is that the overwhelming majority of people, and this will be a huge success. These people are like, oh, this film is going to make me. Yeah, well, this film will be an enormous success, just like all the others are, even Last Jedi. The people who claim that that this stuff is sort of like, oh, well, you go to this thing and you're going to do this other stuff. The books are designed to enhance what you do, to broaden the universe out. And sometimes, like Timothy Zahn's Thrawn trilogy, they can be so successful that people then want to see spin-offs with those characters. I think you can make books that are effective enough that people can then want to tie those into the canon. But you have to do that in the film. You can't do that elsewhere and then hand-wave it and go, well, the reason that Holdo dyes her hair purple when no other character in Star Wars on the films has ever done that is because of this thing that happened when she was a kid. That's great, but then I need to know about that in the film. You can't just put someone like that on a bridge and be like, care about her. And Rise of Skywalker, for the most part, doesn't do that, for the most part. But even there are problems. Like I said, Dominic Monaghan's character is kind of out of nowhere. And then it's like, oh, well, you can find out more about him by checking this following thing. Okay, forget it. I want to know in the film for a variety of reasons. So, but in general, I thought this was done pretty well. I thought this was handled mostly okay. I mostly liked it. And my problems with it, I feel like the problems I had with Last Jedi were these things that just got bigger and bigger and bigger the more I thought about it. And I don't see that happening with Rise of Skywalker. Like, I saw this on Friday, and over the last 4 or 5 days or so, I've been thinking quite a bit about it, and the cracks just stay where they are. Like, I see the problems, but I saw the problems at the time, not that there are these things that are sort of existing. So like, so that's the way that is. I think if you haven't seen it yet, I think it is well worth seeing. Especially if you sort of consider yourself a casual Star Wars fan, or I consider myself a solid Star Wars fan. I think I'm more than a casual fan because I love the games. I've read some of the books. I know a lot of the people that write the books. And so I feel like, and I've watched some of the animated series, but only a couple of them. I haven't watched all of Rebels, I haven't watched all of that. And I can't say that I name my kids Star Wars characters. Like, I'm not that kind of fan. But I'm also a little more than there's a movie, I guess I'll go see it fan. So I would say that I'm a solid Star Wars fan. Most people that support this franchise are casual fans, right? And then you have a group of people that are the hardcore fans who will buy and do and see everything Star Wars ever. So I think if you are in the hardcore variety, you absolutely must see this film. I think if you're in the solid Star Wars variety, you absolutely must see this film. I think if you're a casual Star Wars fan, I think it's worth seeing, especially because I think it ties together the story, despite the fact it has problems, but it still ties together this 9-movie arc. If you don't like Star Wars, this isn't going to make you like Star Wars. If you don't like the Star Wars universe, if you think the Jedi stuff is silly, if you think the whole, a bunch of creatures making silly jokes, if that doesn't float your boat, this is not going to change your mind. Last Jedi might have, because Last Jedi was basically, in my view, not a Star Wars movie, but this movie is not going to do that. So if you like eye roll at the thought of New Hope, etc., you're not going to like this film. But I think for everybody else, I think it's worth seeing. And I think it's worth seeing also a second time. Like, I can imagine myself going to see this movie a second time. After I saw Last Jedi, even right after I saw it, and I liked it more when I first saw it, even then I was like, I don't really want to see it again. Because I didn't have the urge. And I know a lot of people that are like that, even people who liked it. Now, again, there were some who saw it 25 times, but a lot of the people that I know saw it once. So, yeah, that's what I would say about that. Okay. I've seen it 3 times. It helps to see it again. Does it? Yeah, I mean, but I think it stands on its own even without it. So, yeah, exactly. $9.99 per story, 50 cents per minute. Well, exactly, Arudinel. Like, I like it when it fills it in and supplements. I just don't like it when it's required to make it actually work, Okay, what was the... Yeah, I felt bad about the actor for Jar Jar. That was terrible. Terma, you asked me a question up there. I'm sorry. You asked me a question, and I think I missed it. No, I thought you asked me some question up there that I said I was going to get back to. Can you remind me, Terma? I don't know what... You asked me something, and I said that I would respond, and I don't remember what it is. Also, I just went up to see Vader's. I've seen it 3 times. After seeing it the first time, I was super pleased. Things I wanted. Right, I agree with you. I agree with you, Vader. Yeah. I agree with you. I've just agreed with Vader. This is troubling. Okay, I could have sworn... Oh, there we go. What do you think of JJ? Yes, thank you. Yeah, there we go. JJ coming on and saying, okay, so I think JJ Abrams really does have this thing, and then I will get to spoilers, and we'll start playing the game, I promise. I'm not just going to sit here talking at you. I think that J.J. Abrams does have a problem, which is that I think that J.J. Abrams kind of wants people to get along. And so I think, and I certainly identify with that feeling, and so I think as a consequence, J.J., I think, therefore, doesn't want to cause problems. And I'll tell you someone else. Do you want to know someone else who is like this? In fact, I'm going to ask you, Chad, and then I'm going to get to his Terma's question, because this is directly relating to that. What other big member of the franchise, major figure in the franchise, in terms of acting or directing, which other one do you think really really honors their place in the canon and wants people to get along? Do you know who I'm talking about? And I'm talking major figure in the canon. Major person. Major person. Yeah, but see, I don't think Harrison Ford cares that much about Star Wars. I think he likes fine Han Solo, but I don't think he really cares that much. I don't think he really cares. But there is one of them who really cares. A lot. Yep. What's up, Grail Gamer? How are you? Good to see you. Hamill. Mark Hamill is exactly like J.J. Abrams in that respect. I think Mark Hamill genuinely feels that his work as Luke is important. I think he's right, by the way, because he's met so many people for whom Luke's character, was a beacon of hope. And unlike a lot of actors who see that happen and are really uncomfortable with it and kind of like walk away from it and they don't want to be identified with it, maybe because he also got to do the Joker's voice and that gave him, but Hamill has never shied away from being identified as Luke. And Mark Hamill very clearly doesn't want the fan base to be angry with each other. Really. Like, you can genuinely tell he's just a nice guy who doesn't want people to be angry. And he doesn't want people to be angry because he genuinely takes the Luke Skywalker thing together. And let's be clear, Mark Hamill did a spectacular job in The Last Jedi precisely because he didn't want to play him that way. He didn't want to play Luke the way that The Last Jedi portrays him, which I think is deeply problematic, the way that they portray Luke in that movie. And he really did it because he wanted to do it for the story. And, so Hamill is a good guy who really showed his range. Imagine that. Imagine being able to be so good as an actor that you can render a role when you don't even want to do the role that way. But you do it because that's what the director wants, it's what the story calls for, so you do it. I was so admiring of Mark Hamill and his treatment of that. And so I think, and again, for those of you who don't know, I think you will be happier with Luke's portrayal in this film. But Mark Hamill, I think, he really, yeah, I know, Coven, I know. He cares. I think he really cares. Oh, he definitely cares about staying true to Han. Again, I'm not saying Harrison Ford dismisses it. I don't think he sees it in the same way. And part of that, Coven, remember, Harrison Ford also has Indiana Jones, which is iconic. He's also got Jack, what's his name, from Patriot Games. That whole played him. That was iconic. He obviously has Rick Deckard from Blade Runner. That's iconic. Harrison Ford has a lot of things that he played in, whereas Mark Hamill, his legacy basically rests on Luke Skywalker and the Joker. And he's great at those two things, but those are his two bits of legacy. Harrison Ford is at a much bigger career, honestly, like a much broader career. So, I don't know. Right, exactly. I think Hamill really worked on his skills. Really worked on them. And I will say, as Terma, that you started to see that in The Empire Strikes Back. I think he's forgettable in New Hope. He's fine, but he's forgettable. But I think in Empire, you really see moments that he really stretches himself, even more so in Return of the Jedi. Hamill really kind of made himself into a good actor. He really did. Anyway, so Hamill is very much like this. So to get back to your question, this is the deal with J.J. Abrams. Just like J.J. Abrams, I think J.J. Abrams, just like Mark Hamill, does not want people to be upset. I think, and think about it, he was given the keys to the Star Trek franchise. I don't care what anybody says. I still think that both the original Star Trek reboot in 2009 and Into Darkness are good films. I don't care what anyone says. I understand that's not trendy. It's trendy to hate on J.J. Abrams, lens flare, haha, whatever. I think he did. I come to you as a huge Star Trek fan, especially original series, where I would argue that I know as much about original series as most people out there. I teach it. I'm a huge Star Trek fan in the original series, and it's important to me. And he brought back energy and vitality to that franchise, which desperately needed it. And if you don't agree with me, go watch Nemesis and tell me that there's a good story there. There ain't. Nemesis is a terrible film, and it's a terrible, boring, dull film. And that's a huge problem. And J.J. Abrams took those movies and created something with new energy and vitality. Is it perfect? No. But it's pretty goddamn good. And so he's been given that pressure and that fan base. And then we get the Star Wars thing, and he's given that pressure and that fan base. And he's got a lot of pressure. And I think he tries to please a lot of people. So in that quote, I think basically in that quote, the same problem kind of comes into play. That comes back into play. So when you come up with the idea that people who hate the film are right or people defend the film are right, that's because he doesn't want anyone to get angry at each other. Honestly. I honestly think, as Terma, that I just don't think I think he wants everyone to not be as mad. See, I think Rian Johnson doesn't care about people being mad. I think he actually wants people to be mad. I think that he thinks that films are better when people have vastly divided opinions about them. I think that's silly, but I think that's the way he views it. But clearly, J.J. Abrams is not that kind of person. And this is another part where I say, to go back to the Kathleen Kennedy thing, I must humbly, although Dukangia, I am a huge fan, as everyone knows, of Dukangia, who's an awesome dude. But I must humbly disagree with Takanji. I actually think that Kathleen Kennedy is largely at fault for this problem, because I think it's unforgivable to be at the helm of Lucasfilm, to have a chance to set all 3 movies into play, and then to take 2 directors who are as different as you can be. Other than the fact that they're both white guys, I don't think there's any much more of difference you could get in terms of stylistically what they want to do from a movie, and take Rian Johnson and put him in the middle of 2 J.J. Abrams films. And I understand that originally J.J. Abrams was brought in because they had someone, but still, if you're going to bring in JJ, you got to sign him up for all 3 movies, or you've got to put someone in the second movie who is going to be at least somewhat along JJ's line. Rian Johnson is a completely different kind of director. This is more or less to me like if you took, Guy Pearce and then, or not Guy Pearce, what's his name? Oh God, the guy who directed, who's the guy who directed the movie with Brad Pitt where they all play gangsters and it's like set in England or something, and not Guy Pearce. Who am I thinking? Guy Ritchie. It would be like taking Guy Ritchie, right? Guy Ritchie, and then putting in Steven Spielberg as your second movie director, and then putting in for a third director, putting in the guy who directed Love Actually. You know what I mean? Like just 3, like putting in like, Woody Allen, Steven Spielberg, like just wildly different. Snatch, that's it. Thank you, Cyber. Wildly different positions. Wildly different. And then being like, okay, go tell the story. And I mean, I'm sorry. I Kathleen Kennedy can't do that. I think that she deserves to be fired. Frankly, I mean, I hate to say it. I think she deserves to be fired. I don't think this is Disney. A lot of people have been like, "Oh, Disney getting in the way." I don't think this is Disney's fault, other than the fact that they hired Kathleen Kennedy. I don't think it's Disney's fault. I don't think Disney got in the way. I mean, yeah, Disney merchandised the hell out of it. So is everyone else. Go back to the 1980s and go look in any toy store in America, and you would find rows and rows of Kenner and Hasbro action figures. Go look what Lego did to merchandise Star Wars. I mean, yeah, everyone knows it's been about selling it. Lucas was the worst in trying to put in little characters for 3 seconds so he could sell action figures about them. This thing has always been about merchandising. Every corporation's going to do that. But I don't think Disney's responsible for things going off the line. I think the one who's going off the line is someone who's in charge and then comes up with these 2 completely different director types and doesn't sit them down in a room and go, "Hey guys, I got to be clear, Looper is really not like, the first Star Trek reboot. These are very different movies. Like Brick is not Lost. They're just vastly different styles. And, and especially when you have a guy like Abrams who's known for setting up a bunch of stuff, which I think, by the way, he handles closing off those things much better in this film than with things like Lost. But he's Mr. Mystery Box guy, right? He's known for setting up a lot of things. And Rian Johnson is known for subverting expectations, which means throwing everything out you don't like. And so what you end up with is 2 people basically sniping at each other. So it feels like very much a tug of war. You're like, okay, Force Awakens, Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker. And so, like, I'm sorry, like, you're the responsible actor in that case to actually find someone and work them together. And to not do that in this scenario, I think is a big mistake. Yes. Good example. It would be like, film 1 is Tim Burton, film 2 is Adam Sandler, film 3 is Rob Reiner. Or no, it's like Uwe Boll. It's like Uwe Boll, and then the director of Black Panther, and then the director of A Wrinkle in Time. Good luck. You can't do that. Like, what the... Hello? They offered Skywalker to Ryan. You know what? Oh, is that... I don't know about that. I'm not sure. I'd have to look at that. I don't know. I mean, honestly, here's the thing. If you're going to bring in Rian Johnson to the trilogy, you should have started him with 7. Like, it would have been better for him to direct Force Awakens, because then whatever you're going to subvert, at least then you can have a chance for that story to build, instead of having the story sort of Star Wars-y go in a certain way. Rian Johnson comes in, completely U-turns everything, and then in movie 9, J.J. Abrams is like, what the hell is this? And U-turns it back. It would have been better to just start with Rian Johnson and do whatever he's going to do, because then at least you would have had these things working with it. So I don't know. Yes, good examples, as Terma. So anyway, but my general feeling is it's a film worth seeing. It's worth seeing. It's worth having. I think you should. I recommend going seeing it. It's far from perfect, but I think it's very good. And I think I shouldn't say that. I think it's good. I won't say it's very good. I think the film is good. I think, unlike my feelings about Last Jedi, I don't think my feelings about this movie are going to vanish the way that they did for Last Jedi. I actually wouldn't mind seeing this film again, whereas I was not interested in seeing Last Jedi again. So that's the situation, and so, okay, now, as I plug in my PlayStation controller, here we go. I am going to now go into spoiler talk. So I'm going to take chat's thing off the screen. Coven Guy can mute this, and I'm not going to do it yet. When I do this, that means that we're starting to talk about spoilers. So when I do this, I'm going to give you guys the 2 thumbs up, okay? When I do this, that means that we're done with spoilers. And I'm going to ask everyone in chat, this is really important. I'm going to take chat off the screen, and people who want to talk spoilers with me can talk spoilers with me for as long as we do it, probably half hour or so. But when we get done with it and I say, okay, now spoilers are over and we go on to this, I need to ask you to honor the fact that we are done talking about spoilers. And if you violate that, you will be timed out by my mods. Okay, because we really, really cannot, it's not fair to everyone else. So is everyone in agreement? Everyone is cool with that. When I say start, we're going to start talking about spoilers. Then you guys can talk about it. But when I say we're done, then everyone's done. Is that cool? Do I get everyone's general nod of agreement? Yes, that's good with us. Cool, yes. Because let's be fair to everybody else, folks. I want to see more than just Cyber Piglet agreeing on this. Yes, we will try to do that too. Also, I will try to figure out why I can't find... Hold on. What the hell is the controller thing for this? Ah. Okay. There it is. Huzzah. Okay. No, it doesn't have any negative things. Okay, here we go. Ready? Here we go. Now I'm going to start spoilers, and I'm going to mute this thing. Well, less than a week. Well, that's a good question. Let me ask Chad about that, I guess. I mean, I don't want to cause problems for people. I guess I was just excited to talk about it, and I would love to be able to talk more about it, especially in this context. But, I mean, because what I would do then if I didn't do that, then I would do this on Saturday instead. So I would talk about it on Saturday instead. How do people feel about that? Like, would it make more sense for me to do the spoilery chat on Saturday and just for now play this? And we could do like non-spoilery chat talk still about the movie if you want. Is that cool with people or no? Because like J.J. Abrams, I don't want to cause any problems. I don't care. And that's a good idea, Takanja. Yeah, it sounds like people are okay. I don't know, Istrama. I feel like we're setting up. I feel like it's okay because I feel like I'm being pretty cautious, honestly. Okay. Okay, how's that? How does that look? Is that... Are we good? Like, should I put it at the top so there's no way people can miss it? Like that? Oh, God. I think that's a little... I think that's maybe a bit overboard. I think probably... I can imagine people coming in. Oh my God, how could you possibly be chatting about this? I don't... I think we're going to get rid of the scroll. Yeah, I don't think we're going to do the scroll. Okay. Okay, here we go. And engage. All right. Let me remove Twitch chat. Okay. Engage. Here we go. Spoiler chat. So here are the things that I think... Here are some serious things that I think sort of come up that are... I'll start with the problems first. So the problem... So, okay. First of all, as I said, the movie is hyper. Like, the movie just jumps from spot to spot to spot to spot to spot furiously. And the reason that they do this is going to be like, oh my God, look at that. All right, hang on a second. Let me deal with this. Making JJ cut out the 30% movement and Anakin fight along Rey along Palpatine. Maybe take it Ash took the chosen one out at a party film thing. So it was one they want to do tragedies. She was all red and respectable leaders, but wait, that would have included Anakin? Really? I had not heard that. I had not heard that Anakin was like supposed to be in the mix. See, but that, I don't know. I mean, that one, I have to be honest, I'm not, that's a little odd to me. I mean, like, he was the chosen one, but honestly, like, we've been there. You know, like, I feel we've done what we were supposed to do. Like, we're good with that now. You know, and I don't know. I mean, I guess I see it. I just don't really think it's that big a deal comparatively. So, yeah, I mean, like, the problem with the Force Ghost thing is that they sort of are completely incoherent with how they handle the Force Ghost situation, quite honestly. And there were many sequences where I felt like it was it just feels like they're all over the place. It just felt like there were many spots where they were all over the place in terms of what Force Ghosts can do, what they can't do, why they should do certain things, why they shouldn't do other things. It just seemed kind of all over the place, quite frankly. And that was a concern, I thought.
Watch out, BD. You don't look friendly.
Okay, I'll look.
Okay. So, Yeah, exactly.
Cal, can you hear me?
The Empire. They found Zeppo.
Hold on a second.
If they were following the Mantis, we would have been swarmed already.
Could they be looking for the tombs?
I'll come back to this in a minute.
Let's hope not. Just got our comms working. I'll try the same workaround to crack into theirs.
So, I thought that they handled a lot of things really well. Search Zepho for ancient tombs.
Doing okay back there, BD1?
Okay. So I thought they handled a lot of that stuff really well. I was not... Shoot. What was it? Is it options? Yeah. So I thought that they handled some of that really well. I thought that there were... And again, it's hard for me to know what things worked and didn't work as a result of The Last Jedi. Like, Rose is abandoned completely as a character in this film. Rose is not a thing. But the problem I have with caring too much about that is that I thought Rose was a very underdeveloped and sort of unnecessary character that, again, there was way too much telling and not showing in The Last Jedi. There was way too much, oh, look, this is a character you should care about. Why? Shut up. Just care about this character. They did that with Holdo. They did that with Rose. And I felt like in this movie, Abrams' sort of response to that was simply to be like, she doesn't exist, like, essentially, so that Finn can go off and do stuff with Poe. And the reality is that that helps in that it makes Finn more likable, or more, I'm sorry, it sort of develops Finn more. But the problem all throughout, honestly, has been that Finn is just tragically wasted. Tragically wasted. Like, I really think that Finn is just made pointless in these films. And I think a lot of that comes directly from the fact that they underutilize a very talented actor with John Boyega. There are a lot of problematic representations in terms of Rose and her relationship with Boyega, which I really liked. I was going the wrong way. Which I really liked. And I think, there were a lot of problematic things which I did not like about the way that Rose and Finn were handled with each other. And there was a person whose work I was reading who writes for, I believe it's Stitch Media, who had a lot of really interesting things to say about that. And it was not just as obvious as...
Scanning again?
It was not just as obvious, oh yeah, you know, this is totally fine. Scout Trooper Baton. Imperial Light Trooper Baton given to troopers stationed in remote areas. Unexpected threats may arise. These weapons were crafted from the same components as Clone War era electrostats, but have updated Imperial modifications. So, yeah, so I didn't like that. And I felt, therefore, that, and Kelly Marie Tran was treated absolutely shamefully by the fans. She was driven off social media. It was totally unfair to her. But part of the problem that happened is that she became sort of the sum of all fears for people. That she was sort of, that they took her, everyone looked at her and were like, she's demonstrative, that's really cool. She's demonstrative of the problems that exist within this franchise. And I just thought that was totally unfair to her. But again, that is on the people who created her as a character to begin with. So she's just kind of dismissed entirely. So if you felt that she was a character, if you feel like they should be trying to hold on to things that happened in previous films, J.J. Abrams does kind of dismiss a lot of that. There is zero mention at all of any kind of romantic interest between Finn and Rose, and frankly, I thought that whole thing was so forced. Really, the whole Canto Bight thing should just go die in a fire. Like, the Canto Bight thing was so bad, such bad plotting in so many ways that anything relating to it, sort of, I didn't like. The fact that we get nothing of Benicio del Toro's character. He's just forgotten. He's just gone. DJ just vanishes. We don't see him again. Okay? Because there was really no time, I guess, to get him in. There's definitely not a bloat in this film. There really isn't. It's pretty tightly paced, as I said. Almost manically so. But it meant that we lose him completely. So that's a big problem. Finn, I just think, gets wasted all the way through. Rose gets completely dismissed for whatever people care about with that. Right, exactly. Ugh. And I'm going to get to the Palpatine thing, which is, of course, the biggest problem in the end. I thought that Luke was much better in this film. Luke's representation was much better. And I got to be honest, there were two moments that, as I said, really messed me up. The first is when Leia has that moment where she dies and stops Ben Solo, which I thought was very effective, by the way. I completely believed that. When that happened and Chewbacca finds out about it, oh my God. Like, Chewbacca basically just falls to his knees and gives this roar, and I was messed up in the theater. Like, I was just like, tissues, please. That was really hard to watch. It was really well done. It was like he had lost his last best friend. It was really, really well done. That messed me up a lot. And the other sequence was the sequence at the island where the Force ghost of Luke pulls the X-Wing out of the water, and you hear the incredible music from what I still think is the best scene in the entire set of movies, which is the scene on Dagobah when Yoda lifts the X-Wing out of the water, and the music, like, da 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 da, like, absolutely pristine filmmaking. Some of the best filmmaking you will ever see. Absolutely tremendous. And all of that happens during this sequence. So that, there were really, really good moments there that I really liked a lot. And so that was great. And I thought Luke in general was better. You don't get much of him here because he's a Force Ghost now. But I thought they handled it, for the most part, pretty well. Door's locked from the other side, of course. But I thought they handled that pretty well. I liked that sequence. And the Chewbacca sequence really kind of messed me up. But Rose mishandled. And Finn, completely mishandled. He's better. There it is. He's better. Oh, you son of a... I need to remember... I really need to remember how to block. Empire's the best, yeah. I need to remember how to block. I have not played this game in like 3 weeks. I need to remember how to block. Blocking is kind of important in this game. Blocking does matter. Anyway, so I thought that Finn was kind of tragically mishandled. I thought they handled Leia in general, I should say, very well. I actually thought those parts were completely believable. I think he did an incredible job of editing it together so it felt natural. Everybody knew what he was dealing with. I think he did as good a job as you could do under the circumstances. I think they handled the whole thing with Carrie Fisher. They handled that very well. So I think that was managed very well. I thought that her send-off was believable and moving, and it was helped by Chewbacca. And Chewbacca, who becomes not an Uber driver like he was for Last Jedi, but actually is a character with weight and force again. I thought that was great. C-3PO has some very good moments. They have a really nice moment with C-3PO in this too, with the whole like memory wipe business and all that. So that was great. I thought that I always liked Oscar Isaacs, and I thought that I liked Poe's character in general, but I wasn't wild. Okay, first of all, let me see how I can... Okay, how do I block? That's how you block. All right. Well, but the argument to that, though, honestly, Vader, is the fact that she's not part of the... is that she's not in the Force. Like, I think the argument there is that she never actually would have gone into the Force. It doesn't happen often. It happens with Luke, it happens with Ben. These are like the biggest deals that you can possibly get.
Another one?
So, like, you never get... so I think that's the way that works. My general feeling was that she was not necessarily going to go into the Force. And I liked the way that they handled that dyad thing, by the way. The whole Kylo Ren, Ben Solo, back to Rey, I thought was handled well. I didn't even mind the whole passing the lightsaber back to him. I know some people said it's like Deus Ex Machina. I don't really think so. They established from the very beginning that their connection was unusual. The fact that Snoke then gets like completely thrown out by Rian Johnson means that you then have to deal with how is it they were making this connection, and this is as good an answer as any, I think. So I actually liked the idea of the dyad with the Force and all that, and I thought that their relationship was handled very well. The sort of kiss at the very end, that is kind of ship fan service, whatever, but whatever. I don't think that's a big deal. I just thought it was too bad that there wasn't more done with sort of Finn and Rey because of how much Finn clearly cares for Rey. And at the beginning, in the first movie, there's a lot of, not necessarily romance, but there's definitely a lot of Rey being afraid for Finn. And that kind of gets thrown out here because then they just make it into a buddy comedy. And frankly, if you're going to make Finn and Poe go off, and I've heard examples, discussions of why couldn't Finn and Poe become a thing? Why couldn't you have them become a thing? Because the part where they add this whole extra love interest for Poe felt very forced to me. Like, really? Because they have to convince people, no, he's really not gay. They really have other things. Come on. Like, that, I don't know. I think it's more interesting to kind of consider it, why not have a relationship with them? But if you're going to do it with anyone, it wasn't a big thing, but I was just kind of like, please. But anyway, but I liked in general the way they handled. I thought they made Rey much more relatable in this movie, much more relatable, much more believable, much more human, much more capable of error, much more capable of failure. I thought they handled that much better. And I thought the sequence actually where they're on the planet and then she, tries to pull the ship back and Kylo's pulling the ship back and then there's the whole Force lightning thing was all handled really well. And really kind of gave us this sense of the feeling of torture kind of beneath it. It doesn't help that you're thinking about The Last Jedi where none of these issues came to pass before, but again, that's a problem with The Last Jedi, not with Rise of Skywalker, so I thought they handled it well. Okay, and yeah, I know what you mean, Vader, but I also feel like it's kind of the trendy thing these days to sort of say, like, I really want to see what the mysterious evil guy does. Like, I liked his character a lot, and I liked the way that he developed, but I'm not necessarily more interested in him just because of the things he does, honestly. Adam Driver's a great actor, but that doesn't necessarily matter to me one way or the other. So I was okay with things kind of going down the way that they did as far as that is concerned. I did like this trilogy more than the prequels, yes, but that's because movie 2 and the prequels is awful, even worse than The Last Jedi. And movie 1 was pretty bad with a couple of exceptions, and movie 3 for me was just decent. I didn't adore Revenge of the Sith. I thought it was decent. So one decent movie, one god-awful movie, the worst of the franchise, and one pretty bad movie is not going to make up for me, one bad movie with Last Jedi, one pretty good movie with Rise of Skywalker, and one decent movie in Force Awakens. So in general, I like this better. Still not as much as the original trilogy, but you like the Attack of the Clones though? Cyber Piglet, the second movie? That movie I thought was, I was not a fan of that one. Anyway, okay, Palpatine. Let me read through this so I can go back to playing for a second, then I'm going to talk about Palpatine. Capable of 2 different attacks, will bite at a prey's heel, lock them down, and leave that cannot be blocked. Opportunistic, often surrounding prey when they are locked down. Scaz are most commonly found in the shade of dark areas where they can maintain cooler body temperatures. Due to poor vision, they are especially vulnerable in bright light. They are most dangerous in packs, often biting and locking their jaws onto prey, providing an opportunity for the others to strike. Okay. I already know about the bog rat, Ogdo, Splox, Ogdo Bogdo. I already saw Ogdo Bogdo. Okay. So, Revenge of the Sith is tied with Empire. Wow. A bold statement.
Some help here, BD Wise?
Right. A bold statement, but that's fine. I'll buy into that. Okay, so, now, Palpatine. I gotta be honest, I was very, very shaky on this idea, and I still don't know that I've come around to it yet. Because the problem with doing this, to me, because to me, the problem with bringing Palpatine back... Yeah, that would be interesting. And I love, by the way, those sequences where she touches the helmet, Vader, and like that one thing where she's up in his quarters and he's down on the planet, that was a really, really well directed and managed sequence. Really cool. I thought that, like, I love that. I was like, I could have seen more of that. I'm like, please give me more of this coolness. I really like that a lot, actually. But in general, my feeling was, oh god, I hated the bouncing Yoda so bad. Hated it. But in general, I felt like I really liked. So I liked that stuff. The Palpatine thing. The problem with bringing back Palpatine is that, first of all, it feels so transparently and obviously. Hold on a second.
Mother used this fabric to keep her child warm. They were on the run from something.
To me, it's so transparently obvious that when they do this, they're trying to do it because they want to. Because basically, what it says to me is Abrams created Snoke. He's like, all right, here's a cool guy. We're gonna make Snoke. Rian Johnson was like, I hate Snoke. Now he's dead. So now Abrams is like, how about the Emperor? Because, like, I think he basically ran out of ideas because he's like, well, what the hell? It was supposed to be Snoke. So I've got to be honest, I can't blame J.J. Abrams for that too much. But the problem with having the Emperor as your main adversary again is that, to me, I'm going to have to turn this off because I want to concentrate on this point. It invalidates Return of the Jedi. What is the point of having Vader, and it invalidates Vader's redemption. What is the point of having Vader in that incredible moment pick up the Emperor and throw him down the shaft if it turns out he's not really dead? I had the same reaction to Darth Maul when it turned out that Darth Maul actually comes back. What? He was cut in half. What do you mean he came back? He's cut in half and thrown down a shaft. Like, this is like a zombie thing. Like, you gotta cut like every part of them off and then bury them in different planets so that they don't come back together. Like, give me a break. So my reaction to that was kind of like are you kidding me? And so I have a hard time, frankly, and I was actually reminded quite a bit of Deus Ex Human Revolution when you see Palpatine like just hanging on that metal tentacle. I had a hard problem with that because there was a part of me I was just like, come on, dude. Like, I don't know. I found that whole sequence very silly. And that it just meant to me that it kind of invalidates a lot of what Return of the Jedi is about, frankly, by having that movie in that way. However, Ian McDiarmid is great in this role, always has been. The Temple of the Sith was amazing. Like, whatever else you may think about it, the Temple of the Sith, all of those legions of people around them was amazing. I loved the idea that Rey is able to draw upon all the Jedi, and you could hear Qui-Gon and Yoda and all these people speaking to her. I love that idea. And I also love the idea that she doesn't, interestingly, remember, he gives her this like Sophie's choice, right? He says, okay, either you strike me down so that you can take over the fleet and save your friends, which is, by the way, right out of Return of the Jedi. Like, he literally opens the window so she can see the fleet, like just what like the Emperor does with Luke in Return of the Jedi. But so either you can strike me down, save the fleet, or, take over the fleet, save your friends, but then you become me, like you become the leader of the Sith. Or you cannot do that, watch them die, and then I'm going to kill you, right? So he gives her this Sophie's choice. And in the process of doing that, she has to come up with what I always talk about, which is a third reason, a third alternative, a third thing to do. And the third alternative is to do neither. She ends up instead taking the two lightsabers, using them, and reflecting his own energy back against him, the way that Mace Windu did in the prequels as well. I love the idea that he is destroyed by his own evil, by his own Force lightning, so she doesn't lose herself as a Jedi. She doesn't have to do something different. She doesn't strike him down and you're supposed to be like, okay, I guess that's okay now because she did it. She doesn't strike him down. She simply reflects his evil back upon himself. And that, I thought, was great. Really great. And I loved that idea. And I also loved the idea that sort of sticks with her so that when she goes back to... One of my favorite moments in this movie is a quiet moment, and there's not a lot of quiet moments in the movie. But one of my favorite moments of the movie is where she goes back to Luke's house. And there's that moment where she goes over to the place where his uncle and aunt were killed and everything. And she gets onto that little piece of debris and she sleds down the hill of sand into the home. What a gentle, lovely, sweet, subtle moment. There's a playfulness still about Rey. There's a kind of innocence about her still that is reflected in that moment, which I thought was really lovely. You know, she's not cynical and bitter, and she's not like, you know, like Luke was in Return of the Jedi, like, I've come here to die, get off my island, blah, blah, blah. She's not any of those things. It's just a nice, childlike moment that almost reminds you, it's a callback to when she was a little kid in The Force Awakens. It's a callback to Luke himself. I thought that was really nice, and it was a moment that shows that Abrams can do this subtle filmmaking that people think he can't do. Really sweet moment, I thought. And I love that, and I would love to have seen even more of it. Those moments, I think, show you that she becomes a character that is believable, a character that you care about in the end. And so I liked that, and I agree, Takanji. Yes, it was too business in Last Jedi. So in the end, I liked her character arc. I liked a lot of what this movie does well. I loved, again, the sequence, like the pieces of the Death Star on Endor with the crazy water. What a great, like, that first of all, great spectacular moment. And then when she actually faces him, faces Kylo, the whole sequence with Kylo there literally on the shreds of the Emperor's last failure and Luke's great success, right? This is the rebellion's great success, and they're fighting on its wreckage. And then she kills him, in quotes, but then heals him. And by the way, Force healing has been a thing in many of the other things, although not necessarily in the movies, but it has been a thing in a lot of the other stuff. Although I guess she should have had a little bit in the movies, but it is, I think it's reasonable, right? Especially because of the dyad connection between the two of them. And then she heals him, and I love the fact that right afterwards she leaves, and we get to see Adam Driver in this nice moment with Harrison Ford, this nice moment with his father, coming back. And yes, it's a memory, but it's a memory in which he does something entirely different than what he did in Force Awakens. Basically, I loved it. And I thought the whole premise, I thought the whole focus of the movie picked up from really the moment that Leia makes her sacrifice and Chewbacca cries. From that movie to the end of the movie, I was in. Like, from that point to the end of the movie, I was basically on board for almost all of it. Before that, I thought it was rushed. I thought it pushed some things that it shouldn't have. The whole business, again, as I said, Poe's love interest, what? You know, there were problems there. But I thought that from the moment of Leia's sacrifice on, including that sequence on the Death Star, it was good. Not only that, but the lightsaber battle is a good lightsaber battle. Like, it's a legitimately good battle between Kylo and Rey. A legitimately good one, where you really feel like Rey has a shot of losing it. It was really well done. So, and again, she had been training with Leia, so there's other aspects where it shows she'd been training as a Jedi. And JJ, it felt to me, was doing all of these things that Ryan never bothered to do. You know, Rey goes to the island to find Luke. He doesn't train her. She just runs around and does stuff, and then she's brilliant at everything and beats Luke Skywalker in combat because reasons. You know, in this one, there was some explanation that was sort of made to have that happening. So, yes, I will do that, Coven. Yes, I will say no more spoilers. I will remove the chat. I will remove the chat. So, when I do that, I will remove the spoiler chat line. So, yes, I will do that. No, it's not spoiler. We're still having spoilers, but I will do that. Okay. So, so I really like that. But my main concern with the movie is I thought it was rushed, it was hyper, and it was trying to basically tell a new trilogy story in 2 hours and 20 minutes or whatever it was. And a lot of that, I think, is because it was trying to make up for where Rian Johnson kind of, I think, dropped the ball in The Last Jedi. And in some cases, I think J.J. Abrams, didn't do that well. Like, there were also a couple of things where I thought he did take a couple of gratuitous swipes that he didn't need to. When Luke catches the lightsaber, when she tries to throw it into the fire, and his Force Ghost catches the lightsaber and he says, a Jedi's weapon should be treated with more respect. This is the same guy who at the beginning of Last Jedi took his father Anakin's saber and threw it over his shoulder into the water for laughs, which was an absolute abomination that he would take his father's saber and throw it into the water. Like, there's just one, which again, to me is the mark of someone who doesn't really like Star Wars. That's the Rian Johnson thing. But having said all that, he did do that. So you can't just have this same guy say that without something else. One of the things he could have done instead is to catch the saber and then to say something like, I felt like doing what you wanted to do, but I've learned that a lightsaber, that a Jedi's weapon is treated with, is, you know, worthy of more respect. Anything that indicates that he was like, I realized that what I did before probably wasn't the right thing to do. Anything like that would have been better than just being like, whatever Rian Johnson did was garbage. Like, J.J. Abrams didn't do that much, and I can understand why he'd be pissed off that you know, Rian Johnson threw out as much as he did of Force Awakens, but you really got to be more professional than that. So I was not wild about that line. You know, and I agree with you, the Force Skype call, something like that. So anyway, yeah, something like that. I mean, like, or anything like, I like the fact that Luke became the mentor she'd been looking for once he realized what he had done, but you need to do it in a somewhat different way, you know, not just kind of like, haha, screw you. Like, it was too much. It felt like a Twitter clapback, which I wasn't wild about. So, but anyway, I want to get back into playing the game, and I think we've basically talked this through, but I want to say in general that I wasn't wild about the Palpatine edition, but I thought if you're going to do it, I thought they handled it pretty well. I did. I thought another character I wanted to mention quickly. Another one who was totally wasted is Hux. And again, this is the fault of The Last Jedi. Hux in the first movie, in The Force Awakens, was a good kind of balance, I thought, for Kylo, where you could really have this sort of struggle. Hux could have been made into a younger version of Tarkin, basically from New Hope. Instead, Rian Johnson makes him into a your mom joke meme, and from that point on, Hux is just a joke. Like, they just throw him around, they treat him like garbage, they're like, ha ha ha, whatever. And then here, he's the spy. What a shock. That shocks absolutely nobody. He's a spy. And then the guy who's going to become the new Tarkin, apparently, just shoots him in the stomach and is like, whatever, goodbye. Hux is a complete wasted character. And again, that's a character that Finn, some good stuff happening in Force Awakens, and then he gets tragically wasted. Hux, some good stuff happens, and then gets tragically wasted. Poe, some good stuff happens, doesn't get wasted, but goes through this ridiculous series of arcs where he's sort of, you know, mocked and abused repeatedly for doing what I think is generally the right thing, and then comes back and sort of forgets about all of that. I don't know. But there is just a weird desync for me in a lot of these parts where we're like, and that's because The Last Jedi basically screwed over so much stuff in The Force Awakens that then Abrams was kind of like, you know, it was crazy. And yes, I got when she had the Jedi talking to her, I thought that was a lovely moment. I don't know about chills, but I thought it was awesome. Yes. And I loved all of that idea. I love the fact that, yes, it's very clear that Finn is Force sensitive in some way. Very clear. It's very clear that the Force is working on a macro level to kind of make Rey more powerful, to try to compensate for Kylo, and to sort of bring other allies with her, including Finn. Even Han has a little bit of the Force. Even Han does. Even Han has a little bit of Force sensitivity. So yes, I think there's so many good moments there. And I think the moments are more disconnected than they should be because of all this stuff with The Last Jedi. But in general, I thought they paid off Leia very well, given the circumstances. I thought they actually handled Harrison Ford and Han Solo pretty well. I thought that they handled Mark Hamill and Luke very well. I thought that they did the best they could to kind of connect together Finn, you know, Poe and Rey. I don't think they handled Finn as well as they could have, but that's not all their fault. They did completely dismiss Rose, but again, I don't know what Rose is doing there in the first place, so that's not really all their fault. I think the opening half of the movie is too fast. I think if I were J.J. Abrams, I would have gone to Kathleen Kennedy and said, give me another half hour, and you can give me the half hour of time I wasted in Last Jedi, and give me that half hour of the Cano Bite nonsense, and give me the half hour instead, because I need more time. Because he needed more time. I think you could have added a half hour to this movie easily without it feeling like padding, and I think you could have taken it away from Last Jedi, which didn't need it. So I would have loved to have seen that. But I thought there were lovely callbacks. I love the John Williams cameo. There's a little cameo in the cantina where John Williams shows up at the bartender for like 3 seconds. And that plus the musical pieces were so cool. So cool. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And that's the other thing, too, is that everyone is like, oh, but The Last Jedi was so forward-thinking because it shows anyone can have the Force. Well, anyone could always have the Force. The question is whether you had the sensitivity to be trained in it, and some people could be trained in it at a higher level than some other people could as well. I also like that sequence of Kylo Ren getting rid of the people on Mustafar. There was a little bit of the whole MacGuffin, but that didn't bother me. Honestly, and it reminded me actually, for those of you who played Mass Effect 2, a lot of the whole, here's all the fleet waiting to go through this like secret passageway to get to the rest of the galaxy, reminded me a lot of Mass Effect 2 and going to find the collector base. So it reminded me about that. So yeah, they cut about 25 minutes. I would love to see the director's cut of this, Takanjia, because I feel like the director's cut is probably going to be better. I know that The Last Jedi cut supposedly improved the movie, the director's cut, although I don't know why it needs to be even longer, but definitely for this movie. So, I mean, in general, I would say that my ranking now of the movies would be Empire is number 1. Number 2, I would say, is Return of the Jedi. I understand everyone likes to hate on that movie, but I'm sorry, I think it's number 2. New Hope would be 3. I would put this movie... I would put Force Awakens as 4, probably. I would put this movie as 5. I would put Revenge of the Sith 6. Am I doing this right? No, I'm missing a movie. Okay, Empire, number 1. Number 2, Return of the Jedi. Number 3, New Hope. That's 3. I would put Force Awakens as 4. I would put Rise of Skywalker as 5. I would put Revenge of the Sith as 6. Yeah, I got it right. I would put I'd put Phantom Menace as 7. I'd put Last Jedi as 8, and I would put Attack of the Clones as 9. Attack of the Clones to me is the worst movie. I think Last Jedi is better than Attack of the Clones. It has successfully not been the worst movie. Attack of the Clones is worse. But that's the order that I would put them in. And in general, I like it. And by the way, this game that we're playing also really gives me a lot of hope for the future of the series because it's such a well-done Star Wars game too. So, exactly, I agree. So, anyway, that's the deal. That's the feeling. Last comment. Anyone has last comment? And then I'm going to close this off so that we can just focus on the game. So, anyone have any last spoiler comments? No, so many bad problems. Terrible CG work. People staring at like green screens for no reason, awful dialogue, romance with zero chemistry between Hayden Christensen, who isn't a terrible actor, and Natalie Portman, who's a good actress, but you couldn't tell it from these movies. The whole stupid side plot, not side plot, but the plot with Count Dooku, Christopher Lee being wasted, Yoda as like this Super Bowl, because I guess every Jedi has to always have a lightsaber, always. I mean, come on. There's nothing more ridiculous than Yoda bouncing around the room looking like a Super Bowl. It was laughable. People in the theater when I saw it were laughing at how silly it was. So yeah, I loathe Attack of the Clones. I think it is. It's cool if you like it. Everyone can like what they like. Not my movie at all. Not my movie at all. Last Jedi, I thought, had some very pretty visual moments, though. I mean, Last Jedi had some very good visuals. I think Attack of the Clones didn't have a lot of great visuals either. I think it had a lot of, like, Okay, anyone else on Skywalker? Yeah, there was good ambiance. I would agree with that. And, of course, it's got, Ewan McGregor, so that's good. Any other Skywalker comments? Last call for Skywalker comments. Yeah, exactly, Takanjia. Exactly. Last comments? Any comments? Last comments? Okay. Great talk. Good stuff. Thank you, everybody. If you want to talk more about this, I will have more spoiler chat on Saturday. And we will talk more about it. Now, again, remember our deal. When I put Twitch chat back up and people come back in, please no talking about it. If you want to talk about, like, again, I liked the movie, that's fine. If you want to talk about the prequels or the other movie, that's fine. But please no spoiling Rise of Skywalker. From this point forward, I'm going to ask my mods to mute, just to time out anyone who does that, okay? Please, because it's not fair. Stay together, die together. Okay. All right, now, can I get my mods to spam? Mods, can you spam Arvin stuff, please? Can you spam, like, Arv stuff so we can get rid of that? Everybody, like, Christmas stuff? Yeah, move the chat up. There we go. Thank you. Okay, we're good. We're good. Spoilers are over. We're good. You're safe. We're good. Woohoo! Spoilers are over. Spoilers are finished. Yay! Spoilers are over. Spoilers are over. Spoilers are over. Okay. I'm also going to change the title. I probably won't go. Yeah, no, again, I think it's worth seeing. As I said, I liked it. Lovely, perfect. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. Okay, I'm just going to change the stream title so that we can make sure that we don't get anyone coming in expecting what they don't get. Thank you, everybody, for a great discussion. The 4 thumbs up? Yeah, I guess so. I don't really have a... I don't really have one. And okay. Stream info is updated. All right, good. Now we're good to go. Underwhelming, unmotivated jazz hands for the corner of my eye. Oh man. No, that's fine. That's fine. The 4 thumbs up. Yeah, and thank you. By the way, thank you, Vader, for joining us. And I hope if you like these discussions, we have a lot of things like this because I talk a lot about narrative because of my own career. So it comes up quite a bit. And now the problem I found, I thought I was going to be able to play this with no problem, except that I can't turn my brain off when I play this because this game is complicated. I mean, in a good way. I love this game, but it's just like I have to think about it. All right, so now back to this. I think this game is canon, and I want to say, I will go on record again. This dude, BD1. BD, show me BD. There we go. This guy, BD1 is the best, not counting R2-D2 and C-3PO, okay? I don't want to put that into the mix. This guy is the 3rd best droid in the entire franchise. Straight up, BD1. Give me BB-8, give me all these other ones. No, BD1, man. BD1 is the freaking Mac. Freaking love BD1. R5. Is that the from Coder? Who's that?
Ready for another stim? And there we go.
I got another stim? Did I get another stim? He's the best. Yes, I got another one. We have 4 stim canisters. Let's go. Yes. So freaking worth it. Oh, God. I absolutely love this game, man. I really, really do. That was almost pretty scary. The walking PC tower in the sandcrawler. How about the weird mantis-looking guy? Do you guys remember that? You remember the weird mantis-looking guy on the sandcrawler? It was like, murmur, murmur, murmur. Do you guys know that all of those, by the way, all of those have names? There were action figures for all of those. Like, for reals. Action figures for everybody. Action figures for all my men. Oh yeah, red, that's right. Wally was... Oh, are you talking about the one that they choose before... The one that they choose before they get R2? Is that what you mean? Okay. No, Cyber. Definitely not. Definitely not a hack and slash like that. No, absolutely not. I really like this game a lot. In fact, I think it's sort of a thinking man's action game, so to speak. Now, there are problems with it. Well, you know what? Not a lot of problems, though. I mean, it's got Dark Souls combat, but it's got a good story. The voice acting is great. I think graphically it looks wonderful. There's a lot of exploration. It's basically like It's Metroid meets Metroid Prime meets Uncharted meets Tomb Raider meets Star Wars. Like, the only thing I don't like is the Dark Souls-ish type combat at times, and even that isn't bad compared to everything else. So it's, in general, I am a fan. Can I get over there? So no, definitely not a hack and slash. I am very impressed with this game. All right, let's see. What am I missing here? It looks like I need, like, that whole double jump thing. Maybe I have to go back down. Not that way. Because that door is closed from the inside, so I can't go that way. Oh, wow. Arudinel, that's kind of... Aw, that's... I'm sad for your 5-year-old self. I can totally see that, too. I can totally understand that. Oh man. That's so funny. I mean, like, in a sweet way, you know, not like, what a dumb kid. No, I mean, that's a really fun thing. Ooh. Ha ha ha.
Come back here. Something we can use?
New BD1 skin acquired. Wait, there's a skin for BD1? Blue leader. Red leader. You know what? Even though red is my favorite color, I'm going to use blue right now just to change things up a bit. That's pretty cool. That's such a good story, Arudno. I mean, again, I'm sorry that it didn't work out better, but at the time, but oh man, I was all excited. I'm gonna guess that I can't go in here, right?
I think
Also
it's sealed.
locked. Yeah, so I need to get the double jump. I don't have the double jump. All right, let's go back and let's meditate and see what we can get from that. What do you have to say for yourself, big guy?
Good work. Oh, we did it. We did it. Oh, I hope you're not hurt. What are you looking at?
Who are you talking to?
Just my ship, the Manus. Good name, right? Intimidating. But what do you know? You probably never even flown a ship. Maybe I'll teach you one day when you're done with your Jedi stuff. I'll even give you a discount.
I kind of like Grease.
It's dangerous being on the run, huh?
You're telling me. You lose someone?
His name was Prof. Traded his life for mine.
Sounds like a tough, strong guy. Not far from myself.
He was. Since the day I stepped foot on Braca, he watched over me. Never complained.
Never complained? On that trash heap?
I just hope he didn't do it for nothing.
They never do, kid. They never do.
Nice landing, Grease.
Me? Oh, yeah. Not a problem. It's easy for a skilled pilot like myself, especially when flying a ship like this. This
Hold on a
baby
second.
was a steal. Well, I mean, I didn't steal it. I bought it. Well, almost. I mean, I took out a small loan. Big loan, actually. No, it's fine. Look, we're all fine. Don't worry about it. Don't you have Jedi stuff to do? Get to it, kid.
Okay, sorry about that, everyone. Had a daughter going off to spend time with with a friend, and we got her this this watch that lets her stay in contact with us. But it was like we actually, you know, she forgot it. We're like, the watch does not help you if you're not wearing it. So I had to go run do that, and then we're still got this printing going on, which will hopefully be done sometime this century.
Hey, kid, don't lead those troopers to us. Get moving.
Is that it? Okay. Alright, so that's all done. Oh, I'm such an idiot. I just realized how I get up there. It's not a double jump. It's called wall run, which apparently I decided to forget about. Good grief. See, it's been like, I only played this game one time, and it's been, you know, weeks, like, since I played it, so I forgot. Alright, now I remember. Because I was like, it seems weird that they would make it so that you'd have to go and deal with other stuff, but like... And as for, you know, buying a printer for Mrs. R, this is actually not Mrs. R, this is my mother-in-law, but, I mean, it's a wireless printer, so the whole design, you know, it's one of the reasons that we did it this way, but... I forgot that. Attack, yep. Hey, what's up?
Concentrate fire! Too fast! Tracking target. Okay, I got this. I got this.
No, you don't got this. You really, really don't got this. Okay. Yeah, my mother-in-law. It was my wife's mom. What? Ridiculous. Uh-oh. There we go. Ha-ha! Places got a secret.
Okay.
What do we get? What do we
in
get?
there?
A new emitter acquired, huh? Ooh, duty and resolve. Okay. So I'll have to see about that when I get back to, so I can make some more workshop adjustments to, lightsaber. I also got a skill point, which I'm happy to use as soon as I can actually get to a place where they have a meditation area, which I have not yet found. Always got to remember that.
I'll check it out.
What is it? It's a warning, huh? This area is off limits. Imperial Code 94364. No selling or trading. Okay. No, it's no problem. Yeah, he always does it. It's cool. No. That was my father-in-law who had problems. Look at that. Oh my god, look at that. I'm telling you right, I mean, look at this. Such beautiful visuals. Look at this, look at the visuals on this. Oh, gorgeous. So gorgeous, man. I just...
Watch yourself around those skunkers. I won't be able to save you next time. Okay. If anything, you got in the way. Wow, okay. I was just joking. Well, stop it. You aren't funny.
Okay, I want to make sure that I know where those guys are going. What's up, Lone Wolf? I want to make sure I know where these guys are going before I do what I need to do here. Also, I know what I have to do, and this is going to be not fun.
Jedi spotted! Take him down! Yes! Smash him! Get the coward! Target's hurt. Finish this! Someone else take him!
Nice.
Well done.
Scout Trooper can block limited lightsaber attacks, but defense is easily diminished. Easily defeated in single combat, but dangerous in numbers. Imperial Scout Troopers are specially trained stormtroopers in service to the Galactic Empire for a range of missions. They're equipped with light armor for greater mobility and specialized helmets that allow for greater adaptability. Armed with electro riot batons, when blasters are identified as insufficient, they're especially skilled in melee combat, crowd control, and defense against a lightsaber. That's what you need, guys. Electro riot batons. Yes, exactly, that too.
Toss it here. Patched up.
Jedi incoming! Just need one clean hit. Yeah, someone else take a hit.
Maintain range tactics.
Someone should catch him.
Head down, taking the shot.
Hit him! Blast him again! We've almost got him. I can take you out, no problem.
I gotta figure out how to switch off of the blaster block to melee faster. There's gotta be a way to do that. That's true, they'd be great lumberjacks. I'm not doing that well yet. I have to figure out how to switch off of it. Actually, you know what? Let me double check. Okay, so parrying. Okay, so parry is L1, right? Droid interact. Slow is R1. I don't know. I have to figure... Yeah, block right as they attack. But do I have to hit 2 buttons to do that, though?
Take her and go. I'll lead them away.
Oh, Star, no!
Whoops. Bag left by families, they became separated. The father caused a distraction, allowing the mother to escape with their child. You block right as they attack, it'll give them the knockback, then attack. Alright. There's kind of a weird combination there for me, so I didn't...
It's all lies. The Empire just wanted this land.
Eviction notice. Civilians must immediately report for relocation. Looters will be shot. In accordance with Imperial Code 94364, no selling or trading without proper authorization and explicit consent. This property and its belongings are now under the protection of the Galactic Empire. General Markin, 201st Squadron. I love the TIE fighters above. Yeah, I really need to get better at parrying in general. So let me check the map. Wow, 3% explored. Okay. 25% explored of the abandoned village, though. 0 out of 3 of the chests. Yeah, we got a lot of work to do here, obviously.
What are down there.
Oh!
Hit him!
There we go.
The carrier's the target.
What target? There's no target? What are you talking about? Damn it.
Stay calm. Find the intruder.
Nice.
An intruder, down there. Hit him again.
God damn it.
Hurry, end it!
Good. Yeah, it's really about when you block. You have to block right at the right moment.
Hey now. So what was in there?
Ooh, Guardian. Rigger crew. Yeah, I'll take that. Sure. Very nice. Okay, yeah, I gotta remember to do that.
Help me, BD1.
I'm almost out of stims, but... Hello? Ah, interesting. Very interesting. Alright, this is going to be useful because... I'm not going to rest here. Yeah, you can... Yeah, I just have to be better at skilling. Although, speaking of skill tree, it's time to do the skill tree. Okay, now, I am going to be very much a force and survival thing. Okay, superior blocking. I like the sound of that. No, dash strike, no. Empowered slow. Allows him to hold for a longer duration. I like that idea. Nah. Either superior blocking... Yeah, I could see that being very useful. He's just walking around him. Her? Okay. Alright, now I'm not going to bother to rest yet. Because it's been saved, so... I don't think everybody else got reset yet. Shortcut unlocked. Oh, shortcut unlocked. Is this lead out to the... Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. Sweet.
Come back here.
What we get? What we get?
What do we find?
New poncho material acquired, huh? Bravo. Scrapper, eh. Boganodon, eh. That's not bad, actually. That's not bad. Yeah, I dig that.
I'll check it out.
This game is 100% going to have a sequel, by the way. Sturdy storage containers to transport fragile goods. The outside is made of a heavy metal that can easily withstand Zepho's high winds. It's also made of a heavy metal that can easily withstand this. That's what they meant, right? The best kind of heavy metal. Thunderkiss 65. Yeah, exactly. Wait, what? That was freaky. I got too close to that door, and all of a sudden it went off, and I'm like, wait, what? Robots? What? What? Okay, cool. So, good. Excellent. Now we have that shortcut unlocked. That's great. Turn it up to 11. So I just want to say again, this is also another really interesting environment. Like, they did such a good job at coming up with unusual, interesting environments all through this. That looks like a place where I will not survive. Can't get there, can I? It does, yeah. Well, again, there's a lot of Uncharted in this, it feels like to me, Jay.
Come on, let's get it. Can't top my...
Sorry, I didn't make that. What was that? Well, I didn't hear. There's something about, I can't make... I think you were saying something like, I can't... I don't... You guys really got to learn to finish your sentences, honestly. Like, what's up, gamer? Yeah, exactly. Except the Dark Souls, that's the worst part of it, but everything else is good.
Come back here. What is it?
A new lightsaber sleeve acquired. Very nice, very nice. I can't hear you over the sound of how dead you are. I cannot hear you over the sound of your screams of anguish. Okay. Now, that over there I need to get to. How do I do that? Oh, I do that down there.
Gotcha.
Jedi!
Oh. Yeah, but I have to say, this is... the combat is Dark Souls-y, J-Reb, and also the way that you open certain areas and certain spots and then have shortcuts to it is very Dark Souls-y. If I were to rest right now, I would get back my stims and I'd get back my health, but all the enemies would respawn, which is very Dark Souls-y. And there's some... The combat's difficult. I mean, the combat's difficult, so... That's the part that I enjoy the least, but I still like it all, you know, so... Okay, so what have we got besides empowered slow? Can I not... I already have that. Why can I not do... I have a skill point. Do I need more than that? I don't really understand why I can't go a higher... Maybe I have to be a higher level before I can go to that tier? Like, why can't I go... It's not letting me click over to, like, the next tier up. I'm trying to decide how to do that. Alright, superior blocking. I was thinking about doing that anyway. I don't want to do evasive kick, necessarily. I mean, I guess it's okay, but superior blocking I want to do. Are you required to get a bunch of level 1s, or whatever the equivalent would be, before you move on to others? Because I was going to make myself mostly into force and survival, but is it one of those deals where eventually you get all of it, so I just can't go any further right now with this? Like, I can't go any further with force until I get more of the others, which is okay with me, actually, because I was thinking about getting blocking anyway, but... I bet that's what it is. Okay. Turbine facility. Do I want to go to the turbine facility yet? No, I don't want to go to the turbine facility yet. I'll come back to that. Yeah, I don't think it's based on the resting area, though, Jay, because I think they all do the same thing, pretty much, but... Yeah. The music, by the way, is great in this too. I'm so impressed with this game. I have been so impressed with it since I started playing it. Okay, yeah, he doesn't have that yet. That bridge, and I can't do it yet. Wait a second. Hope I can make this. Damn it! Those guys are down there, right? I wish I could, like, stealth in on these dudes.
It's the Jedi!
Damn it.
Charging to the enemy's position. He's hit. Those reinforcements are on the way. I'm gonna take you out.
Stim, now!
Block all you want. I only need a few hits.
I'll check it out.
Scout Shooter Commander, able to block, parry, and use specialized spin techniques, stronger stamina than their subordinates. I could tell. Scout Trooper Commanders lead squads of specially trained stormtroopers into combat for the Galactic Empire. Scout Commanders armed with riot batons are extremely adept in melee combat and should not be taken lightly. So now I'm going to have to rest, even though that's going to respawn those guys, which sucks, but... Yeah, I don't have the force push thing that I need yet for that. Anakin called a gonk. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. It's gonna take you out for dinner in a movie. What's up, Wiz River? Yeah, so... My problem is that I'm out of stims, and I'm in very bad health shape. Really don't feel like those guys coming back and getting me, but... Alright, we got Abandoned Village, 2 out of 3 chests. There's one more chest I can't open yet. But it's all completely explored now. 100% explored. So I should be able to go in that turbine area. So if I go back now... What are we doing on time? Have you knocked out comms? Asking for a friend. Oh, I did not even see this here. Mini cave to nowhere.
Where are you taking us?
The Empire's forced the villagers from their homes. Frightened refugees, shipped off to work camps. Or worse.
Also, this game rewards you for exploration, which I love. Pack left by villagers forced in their homes by the Empire and shipped off to labor camps or worse. So I love that. Oh, sorry. Alright, I gotta go heal up. I'm gonna be going into the turbine area anyway, so it doesn't really matter. That was the TIE fighter. That was super cool and a little freaky. Okay, yeah, I go over this way. Right over this way. Right, then I go this way. Jump up here. Yep. Jump there. Jump there. Get it. Let's try that again. One more time. One more time. One more time. What? Really? How did I get up here the last time? Not just Easter eggs, though. They give you more experience, literally experience, which you can then use to enhance and build your character. So it's not just that. Gotta be able to get up there. Interesting. Guess I can't get up there. Could have sworn I did the last time, though. How did I get up there the first time? Where's the turbine area? I have to get there. How do I get there? I have to get up there somehow. I don't know how I do that, though. And there are, yes, the chests do have Easter eggs and skins. Like, the chests are not a big deal, for sure. But the, at least not so far. But the stims are, though. Like, and I just found at the very beginning of when I started playing this game session, I found one of those. So the stims make a difference. I was just here. Yeah, I came down this way. Went up this way. What the heck? Right, and then it goes up here, yes. And I went up this way. Came down this way, yeah. Went up here, fought these dudes, came up here. That's the bridge, which I can't empty. I still can't open yet. It's gotta be that. How do I... Oh, man. That itchy nose feeling is the worst. Okay. I am confused. Okay, it's got to be here, up here. Yeah, this way, and then there's that thing, yeah. I did this before, but... Okay. Go up here. Yes, so that brings me up here. Why can I not get up there? I seriously don't understand it. I feel like I went this way before with no problems, and all of a sudden I can't make this jump. I don't get it. Because I can't go over that bridge. So I can't do that. Because I need to get to that area back there, because there's a circle. There's a meditation circle and the turbine area, which is where I have to go next anyway. So but I'm not... Jump, right? Diagonal? No. I don't think so. I feel like this wasn't a big deal the last time. I just went and did it, and it was fine. Very unclear about why this was a big deal. Or why this is now a big deal. Oh, there we go. See, so I knew I could make that. I don't understand. I made that jump like 3 times. Like, and all of a sudden it was like, nope, can't make the jump. Okay, anyway. I made the jump this time. Okay. One thing is I have to be super careful because if I, like, trip and fall, I'm going to die with how low my health is. Alright, here we go. This time I do actually have to meditate. There we go. Get good. Yeah, exactly. So atmospheric. Aha!
Hey! What do we find?
New lightsaber material. Excellent. This music is creepy. It's reminding me of, like, Mass Effect 2 and 3, when there's a couple sequences where it's basically like Dead Space. And you just go in, it's just like the Banshees show up, and in case you don't know what the Banshees are, oh my god. You do not want to face them in a dark alley. Yeah, lighting is really good. I agree, Runo. Speaking of lighting. I was coming up to stealth kill him, and all of a sudden it's just like, whoa! It's just like, that was awesome. There's a lot of saber modding that you can do. Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of saber modding you can do for sure. I don't know how much mechanical effect it has, though. Suck it. You guys are ugly. Oh, tremendous. That didn't work. I didn't know. I'm still doing it too. I gotta wait. What's up, Cujo? I did that wrong. Man. Oh god.
That looks like a problem.
Ow.
Toss it!
Ow.
Now!
Jeez. The hell, man? Why am I fighting a ram? It's a Philac. When provoked, Philac's low vision makes it difficult to change course, often crashing into rocks when charging. Philac hooves adapted to keep them steady in mountain passes, making them resistant to the push and pull of Zepho's high winds. Philacs are masterful climbers, able to move with ease on mountain paths. Solitary by nature, they leave their mother's side early to find their own territory. The horns on their heads are their greatest weapon. When two Philacs clash, the sound thunders across the mountains. As they age, their horns steadily grow, adding a new ring for each year of their lives. Yeah, great. Oh god, man. There's 2 stims on that dude. Do I have a meditation circle? Oh, okay, good. Good. Well, you suck. What's up, Carol? Look at again. So gorgeous. Seek the eye of the storm. Okay. I just can't get over how gorgeous the game looks. It's gonna be fun.
A little help.
I'm hungry. It's reducing the quality.
Sorry, I didn't make that.
Destroy him!
What?
Another attack.
Don't let him break your guard.
BD1.
That's part of our duty for the day.
Damn it. No, I'm not playing in 4K. Damn. That's gonna be hard because, like, I can deal with those guys. Like, I have to deal with the laser guys before I deal with the melee, and I'm still struggling with melee combat. So. Yeah, well, they did, you know, speaking of the Jets, freaking beating my Steelers. It's a terrible loss for the Steelers, too. They still can get into the playoffs, but they have to beat the Ravens. The only good news about that is the Ravens don't need that game, so they may rest a bunch of people. That's the only good news, but otherwise, that's rough. All they need to do is beat the Jets, man. All they need to do. Anyway, so I'm going to be on here for another probably 5 to 10 minutes, and then I got to get done and cast our final vote. By the way, exclamation point next game. Remember, next week we're doing the Patreon Field Chat Chosen Game of the Month, so you can now weigh in right now about what that's going to be. Oh my God! Way back here. It's going to suck. Actually, never went this way, did I? What? Where?
Another one?
My friend,
Okay, sounds good, man.
in the rotation since I left Pagano, I've uncovered more about the Zepho than I once believed possible.
Okay.
That's
Locked
not
on the
moving.
other side. Okay. That's fine, actually. Because that means that I don't have to worry about that I'm missing something over here. Alright, so I gotta go back and deal with that dude. Oh, those stormtroopers are not gonna be fun. What's up, Synthetica? Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes, it does play very much like that. It plays like that, and also Uncharted, if you're familiar with those. Again, the Dark Souls-y combat is a little different, certainly much different than what you get from Tomb Raider, but it definitely has that feeling, I would say, for sure. And I happen to really like Tomb Raider, so... In fact, arguably, that is what this is. I mean, you are kind of raiding tombs in a lot of cases to try to gather information, so... Alright. There's that. Yes, so... I'm gonna go up here.
Jedi! I'll drop you!
Last time, that guy just took him out when I ran up to him, so that's a little bit nice. Ah, Jesus! You son of a... Sure. Ugh.
Everything okay, BD1? Glad to hear it.
That guy was not there last time. Yes, I agree. Oh God, this guy. God damn it. Alright, that was actually easier this time than last time.
Help me, BD1.
Alright.
Grateful.
I mean, I was sort of sneaking, kind of, but the other guy went the wrong way. Alright, this is gonna suck.
We'll beat you! I can't watch!
What?
Now!
Oh god, it's a rocket guy. Look at this. Oh my god. I freaking... Oh my god. That was the best. I literally nailed that guy onto the platform. I threw that guy to the platform, and then he's just like, whoa, whoa, whoa. What the freak was that? Oh, that was not how to do it as a Jedi, people. All right? That was definitely not. What's up, Lego? That right there was not how we do things downtown. But whatever. I'll take it. Pretty much. Oh god. Anyone else clenching right there? This is PS4. I could, but I don't have force push yet. The clip button's gone? Oh man, that would have been a good clip too. Why do I not have freaking meditation circle? Look at that. Look at that. Completely unnecessary. Anyone want to take a guess how long it's going to take before I have to go over those? You guys know I'm going to have to go over those. I saw that on Discord, Lego. That's awesome, man. That's a good console switch. You know I'm going to have to go over those. Like, that's 100% going to be happening. Did you get the clip? I want to see this. Look at this. Oh my god. I freaking... That's awesome. Thank you, Jay. Nice work. That was pretty freaking cool. I felt very proud of myself. Maybe it'll give me a speeder. Yeah. Indeed. One can only hope. Alright, this is going to be unfortunate.
Found the target. Has to slip up. You thought I'd be the last one standing.
Oh god.
Where'd you go?
That is how you do it, baby. That is how you do it. That's how we do things downtown. Oh my goodness. That was good. I was very happy with that. Bow. Pew, pew, pew. Stormtrooper commander. Commands nearby stormtroopers. Hey guys, no hits, everyone done. Okay, I want to be clear. This is a little advanced Star Wars, okay? So, because, as you folks know, just because of my expertise, this is Star Wars. There you go, Cyber. A stormtrooper commander commands stormtroopers. Allowing focused and synchronized fire on targets, equipped with grenades. Stormtrooper commanders lead their battalions into combat for the Galactic Empire. Recruited from countless systems, they have been trained to support the oppressive power of the Imperial war machine. Their strategy and proficiency with an array of weapons allows them to coordinate attacks, command group maneuvers, and launch deadly assaults. Exactly. Shocking revelation. Okay. Can I please have a save point? Seriously? Please, I'm begging you. Can I please have a save point? That's more troops up there. Please give me a save point. Shortcut. Oh, it's unlocked back here? Oh, yay! See, this is so Dark Soulsy. Okay, I gotta go back and save. Even though it means those guys are gonna respawn, I've got too much experience and stuff that I've done, plus I need to use that skill point. In fact, I still have a stim. I probably don't even need to use that. I can probably just get my skill tree. Because the nice thing about this is you can meditate and get the skill tree without without having to have all the guys respawn. Okay, now we also get a chance to see. Yeah, it doesn't. So it looks like I'm not allowed to. I guess you have to be a little bit balanced. I thought that I could just focus on survival and force, but it looks like I can't do that. So that means my next one up here is going to be Dash Strike. I mean, that'll be useful. I see what you did there, and I approve. The next tier are things I haven't remembered yet. Oh, really? I see. Okay. I don't really need... I mean, I've got a stim already, so... Because every time you do that, you save. Alright, how are we doing on time? Oh, we're not doing great on time. Okay. Let me just get back to where I was. If I find a save point over there, great. Man, I am so excited that it has that freaking... that it has that shortcut. That's so cool. Super cool. Super cool. Does whatever a super cool does. Wait. That's not right. That's how I... That brings me through all those guys again. What is this clip?
Found the target. Has to slip up. Never thought I'd be the last one standing.
Oh god!
Where'd you go?
That is how you do it, baby. Nice. Thanks, Jay. That's a clip that, see, now that clip is, that's not me sort of accidentally working into something. That's actually a functional clip. Like, look, Arv can play this sometime. Okay. Whoa, hello. All right, so we go down here. Yeah. I'm going the right way now. We go down there, and we go over there, and then we jump onto that, and then we go this way. Maybe? No, wait, I just came... God damn it. I just came from here. Alright. Here. Then one.
Intruder there! I got this.
I don't think you got this, actually.
Wipe us out! Oh no! Oh no!
Need a stim?
Oh no! Oh no! So they did respawn. I guess when I use the skill tree, they do respawn. That's unfortunate.
Got him up there. I'm not doing all the work. Quick, catch him!
That was dumb. It was a mistake. Mistakes were made. Took the shortcut backtrack, then chose the long way. Oh, god damn it. Yeah, well, I was almost doing that. That sliding mechanic was interesting. I would love to have a save point, because I really should probably wrap up here. A save point would be nice.
Found the target. I got a hit. I see. Don't let up. Watch where you aim. Getting weak.
God damn it.
Just doing my job.
Those combination attacks, man, with the lasers from this and like... Shoot. I actually don't think I've lost a lot of experience anyway, so I probably should just save it where I am, but... Damn. No, I saw the red glow for the unblockable attack, but I'm still too worried about the blasters. What I should have tried to do is I should have tried to pull that guy back out of the range of the blasters and just taken him out that way. It's what I should have tried to do. Mistakes were made. Alright, well, since I'm back here anyway, we will be doing that. But still, the abandoned village is explored now. Gusty Bluffs are 55% explored. Turbine facilities explored. I got the one chest there. There's one more chest. I can't get to that. I don't have what I need yet. The derelict hangar. I got 1 of 1 secret and 3 of 3 chests. So that's all done. Still can't get in there, but that's... I'm sure that I'm going to be coming out that way when I'm all done with all this. Yeah, no, I saw it, but I didn't react well to it. So, yeah, one more chest. I can't do anything else with that. Turbine facility, can't do anything with that. And Gusty Bluffs. This is the thing that I need to do more work on. See, look at all that. Because going through all that again, now I can just shortcut out of it and just go back here, which is a lot easier. Although I'll be interested to see if there is a secret that I need to get at some point down there. And Weathered Monument, obviously, I just got to, so... Another thing I could have done there is I could have overhead slashed. Because I now have the ability to do this. You guys can see that might be pretty useful. And I didn't do that with that dude. I should have closed the gap, because if I take the melee guys out as fast as possible, then I can deal with the blaster guys at my leisure. My problem is if I'm dealing with the blaster guys, by the time I manage to block, I have to wait for them to shoot at me. I can't line them up for a good block return because I've got these other guys attacking me, so I just need to deal with the melee guys. And maybe I'll get lucky and the melee guys will run into their own shots, because you can get hit with friendly fire in this. So, great for starting a campfire, exactly. Deployable, there, he doesn't fight at all. He will do things like, he helps you do zipline stuff. He can help you do that, and there's other examples of stuff that he does in that line, but... Pretty sweet. Okay. So... Good stuff. All right, folks, this was, again, a blast. I really, really am enjoying this game a ton. And I am looking forward to playing more of it, which I will be doing this week. If not during a special stream, then I will definitely have a chance to do more of it on Saturday, when I'm going to be doing that, plus my Game of the Year stream. So I'll be talking about my Games of the Year for 2019. 2 lists, the ones that I played that came out in 2019, and also the ones that I played for the first time in 2019, regardless of when they actually come out. So that is what we are looking at. I am very, very pleased, though, that we had a chance to play this and hang out with all of you lovely people, because it was a good time. I enjoyed it. So I'm going to be heading over now to GOG, and let me just... Okay. Hold on, you're going to see some blinking. You're going to see some blinking happen. Okay, bear with me just a second. Okay. And hold on. There we go. And I'm back. So, this was good stuff. I'm very, very excited. This was great. I had a great time, and I cannot wait to play more with you folks. But right now, the time has come for me to get on out of here. At the top of the hour, I will be continuing with Return of the Obra Dinn, which is a really awesome game. If you have not seen it, it's by the guy who did Papers, Please. Kind of like insurance investigation of the supernatural on the ship. So anyway, it's good times. I'm looking forward to it, and I will play that today over at GOG from 4 to 7 p.m. Then again, tomorrow we've got my special Christmas stream where I will be hanging out with the family. Mrs. Arv, Little Arv, Mini Arv, and myself will be playing something for you sometime tomorrow. Don't know what the time is yet, but we will try to make it sometime midday, obviously, and we'll hang out with all of you, and that will be a good time. And then, as I say, there may be some special streams here and there if I can fit them in. Depends on how the schedule looks like. But otherwise, you'll definitely get some good streams from me. Oh, and let's make sure that we have... Now's the last chance, because I'm closing down this poll in about 2 minutes, so now or less. So now's the chance to get in your votes for what I'm going to play next Tuesday. Right now, Event 0 is 10 votes, to Heroes of Might and Magic 3, 4 votes, to Last Epoch, 1 vote. So that's what we're looking at here. 10 to 4 to 1. Now's your chance to get in your last votes. It looks like it's going to be Event 0. Ugh, God, the Pats. No. Not at all. Viscera Cleanup Crew Holiday Edition. I've seen some of that. Yeesh. Troubling. What the hell, go Pats. Hey, listen, the Cowboys aren't completely out of it. Boy, the Cowboys, man. What a mess. The fact that they could end up at the same record or even worse than the Steelers, given how the Steelers started, is amazing to me, but we'll see. Okay, so we're going once, going twice, and it's over. So Event 0 is going to be the game that I will play next Tuesday, which I know that Coven Guy nominated and spoke highly of, so I will look forward to playing that. It should be a good time. So that's going to be happening coming up soon on, as I say, next Tuesday. But for right now, I'm going to get up on out of here. Thank you all so much for being a part of this stream, and I hope you enjoyed our discussion of the Rise of Skywalker. I'll do more of that on Saturday as well. Yes, you missed all the things, Brahms. I got to get out of here because 4 p.m. I'm going to be over at GOG with Return of the Obra Dinn. But it was great to see all of you wonderful people as always. Don't forget the ways to support the stream. Please follow the channel. Check out the YouTube with !ArvTube, the Discord with !ArvCord, the Twitter with !ArvTweets. You can find all of this on my website, arvaneleron.com, for the channel. Don't forget as well about the ways to support the stream financially. The shop is !ArvShop, merchandise for both Adventures of Middle-earth stuff and also for D&D Infinity and Beyond stuff as well. You've got !ArvTreon, that's Patreon, trying to get there. Move that up the list as well, because that really is the financial backbone of the channel. And then we've got that sub button, 72 subs. We're only 8 subs away from the goal of 80 subs by the end of the year. So hopefully people can jump on board with that. And last but certainly not least, the publishing stuff that I've got going. !Library to find out more information about my Forbidden Library D&D adventure /sourcebook. !Icarus for my art, my graphic novel series Icarus and Jelinek, which is going to be out in late April, early May. And also Grayshade KS, which is has information about the link to my Grayshade Kickstarter. Much more about that, of course, coming in the new year. But that's going to do it for me. I'll see you folks over on GOG. If I don't see you there, then let me wish everyone a happy Hanukkah and Merry Christmas and all that kind of good stuff. And I will see you all. My God, what is this? What? What is this? What did you just do? Oh my God, dude. The gamer main with the 10 tier 1 sub bomb. Holy crap, dude. Thank you, gamer. That almost makes me want to root for the Pats. It doesn't, but it almost in another universe could. Thank you really, really very much, gamer. I appreciate that, man. Thanks so much, dude. Thank you, thank you. That's very kind of you. And welcome, everybody, to the Arvanauts. Thank you to Grey Old Gamer. Welcome, Grey Old Gamer. Welcome, the Ting 1000. Welcome, Scar Emerald. Welcome, Garrett. Welcome, Cujo. Welcome, Valdrianth. Welcome, Sir Galadriel. Welcome, Kaylee Kez. Welcome, West River Rat, of course. Welcome, Encounter Roleplay. Thank you all so very much. This is great. Merry Christmas to you. I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. It's very kind of you. And that means we are at 82 subs, I believe. So we have made our goal. We wanted to go into 2020 over that 80 sub goal, and we did it. So for those of you who are new, I hope you enjoy the emotes. We're pretty happy with them. I hope you like the emotes and can use them all over Twitch, and I hope you will spread the word. That's really kind of you. Thank you. That is a new record for the channel, by the way. 82 subs is a new record for subs. So thank you, man. Very kind of you, gamer. Appreciate it, dude. Thank you. And yeah, and I look forward then to that. I gotta at least wait till we get through all of the triumphs before I guess I'll just finish up while we're doing this. I dig it. I think we got one more after that. But then Patriots.com. But no, I appreciate it, gamer, very much. Last one coming. Counter roleplay. Of course, the wonderful encounter roleplay. That's going to do it for me. Thank you all. I'm going to be over at GOG in about 20 minutes for Pen and Pixels, GOG, and of course, the return of the Obra Dinn. Thank you so much to the Gamer Main for that. That was super awesome. Thank you to my wonderful mods, Rudinell, Coven Guy, J-Rab. Thank you so much for being here. Jay, thanks for all the clips today. Coven, thanks for being here on point. Also, a Rudinell, great job. Best mods in the business. Thank you to my subscribers. No. If I'm going to root for the Pats, it would only be with a box of raisins, because these are things that I do not like, together. But no, thank you so much to my subscribers. Thank you to Rudinell, Coven Guy, J-Rab, Nonstop, Cujo, Isterma, Lone Wolf, the Gamer Main, and all the people that just joined me as subs now. Thank you all so much. And a special thanks to the Gamer Main for that 10 sub bomb. That was really nice of you, man. Thank you. Thank you to, 80 plus subs. No. Thank you to Aiton. Thank you to Brahms. Thank you to Chad-Eye, to Commander Root, to Cyber Piglet, ECAG, Electrical Longboard, Garrett, Grey Old Gamer, Jiza, Lurks, Major Snafu, Mubot, I guess. Thank you to Nasty A69. Will you stop, Cujo? Yeah, exactly. And you root for the Dallas Stars. 2 can play at this game, sir. No, I'm Red Sox for life. Thank you to Atakin. Thank you to Scar Emerald. Thank you to Timonash. Thank you to you, Christensen. Thank you to V&K. Thank you to Virgo Praz. And thank you to Windsock. Thank you all so much. And really, thanks for that gift bomb. That was a nice way to end off a really fun stream. Really enjoyed the discussion about Rise of Skywalker. Really enjoyed playing this game. And I can't wait till we get to do even more of it. So thanks, everybody. Much love to all. And I will see you folks over on GOG in just about 20 minutes for some Return of the Obra Dinn with Pen and Pixels. Till I talk to you next time. Everyone be good to each other. May the Force be with you. And Patriots suck.
Fresh and new, when it all seemed clear to you, when your aim was straight and true. Were your mind untroubled by the questions in the dark, content to play your part, open pathways to your heart? Were your life untainted by a host of broken dreams, when all your acts were queens, understood all that it means? Could you have understood the way your life was bound? Did you ever wonder how you got from there to now? Oh, yes, you're gonna fly away from here, where the sky grows more clear, and your problems disappear, drift away down below. Watch them go down to your friends, where the trouble never ends, and there's always just one more day left to go. Now through your pile of broken lies and your set of fake goodbyes, another cynical disguise. When will they catch you? All those little things you said, will it turn around instead? Blame the voices in your head. With all your subtle language, try and turn your life around. If your center gets unwound, you do your best to slow things down. And if you feel things that you never felt before, shook you to your core, you can ignore. Oh, yes, you're gonna fly away from here when the sky grows more clear and your problems disappear. Drift away down below. Watch them go down to your friends where the trouble never ends. And there's always just one more day left to go. And when you've struggled and you keep on falling back, 'cause it's confidence you lack, you try and take a different tack. You can turn and face your demons, or you can give yourself a break. You can go a new direction, life is only what you make. When it comes to your own vision, when you got to see it through, you know you got to make it do. You know it's all been up to you. 'Cause here I stand here waiting, trying to make a brand new start. 'Cause it's finally dawned